Hi, I'm Russ Francis, and what better way to come to an arena football game between the Fort Worth Cavalry and the Las Vegas Sting than on Cisco, Kevin Costner's co-star in Dances with Wolves. I'm going to take him time up here in a second, but last week in the glitter and the glamour of Las Vegas, these teams played one heck of a game. This week, we're in Texas, and the rematch starts here tonight, next on The Deuce.
6 nights ago, the Fort Worth Cavalry charged into Las Vegas, but it was the Sting who had a thing for winning. Joe Brookins put them up early, and Fort Worth would have to fight back. The hole got even deeper when the Smurf took matters into his own hands, and the ball 57 yards into the end zone. Tyrone Thurman goes the distance, and the lead was 15. The Cavalry's Carlton Liggins came to their rescue, and that pulled them within 8. But then it was James Johnson who found room to run, and Vegas hit the jackpot tonight, the next clash in Cowtown. Welcome to the Lone Star State here in the Tarrant County Convention Center in beautiful Fort Worth, Texas. Tonight, our Arena Football League game of the week. The Las Vegas Sting at 3-6 taking on the home-standing Cavalry of Fort Worth. Their record is 4-6. Of course, in the final weeks of the season, the playoffs are on everybody's mind, and right now, these 4 teams are sitting awfully pretty. Orlando and Albany already in, as a matter of fact, at 9-0 and 8-1 respectively. Arizona, by virtue of the tiebreaker right now, has the 3rd seed, and Tampa Bay is seeded 4th. 5 through 8, they get in as well, but this is when it gets interesting. Massachusetts is 6-3, but after that, it becomes a real horse race that Cisco could appreciate. Miami, Fort Worth, and Vegas all very much in the hunt, and the scramble is on to see who winds up seated where. If it ended tonight, here's how the playoff picture would look. Vegas would be at Orlando, Fort Worth at Albany, Miami at Arizona, and Massachusetts would travel to Tampa Bay. Hi, everybody, and welcome inside the Tarrant County Convention Center. I'm John Walls, and boy, you want to talk about a rejuvenated Las Vegas Sting. Well, the main man behind that has been their quarterback, Tommy Porras, a longtime contributor as far as Arena Football League is concerned with the Albany Firebirds. Porras signed last week, threw a couple of touchdown passes. You can see his numbers there on the screen. He has completed more than 50% of his Arena Football League passes for almost 6,000 yards, 90 touchdowns, and has thrown only 32 interceptions. As I said, last week in his re-debut, you might call it, against Fort Worth, he threw 2 touchdown passes. He's now standing by with Mr. Francis. Russ?
Tom, this is just your 2nd game back in arena football. You've got pro experience in the AFL and the Canadian Football League. Coach Pirelli says he's expecting great things from you. Do you feel a weight on you, or do you feel an excitement that this team still has a shot for the playoffs?
Well, as a quarterback, I mean, you want the pressure to be on you, and it's not pressure to me if you take care of your business. You know, I just have to run the team. I don't make the tackles, kick field goals. I just got to do what I got to do on the field, and that's complete balls, and I can move the club. So we got a great plan for him, and we just got to pull it out like we did last week.
They call this guy the singing quarterback. He sings in nightclubs in Las Vegas. Now tell me the truth, Tom, and look in the camera, because the camera can tell if you're lying or not. Tonight, would you rather be singing it or winging it?
Definitely winging it.
Well, good luck. Thanks for joining us. Have a great game. John, back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Russ. Tommy Porras looking forward to the opportunity of playing down here in Fort Worth. The Cavalry, though, has a dynamic duo at quarterback. You want to talk about contributing en masse, they have certainly done that. What a tremendous pair of quarterbacks they have in Todd Hamill and Kyle Mackey. Between them, 45 touchdown passes and only 11 interceptions. That rates up as one of the best combinations in the league. Hamill, though, will get the start tonight. Mackey a bit banged up. He can play. He's healthy enough to play. But again, Hamill will take the first snap. Down the stretch we come, Russ. It's going to get really interesting for both of these teams.
Yeah, the Sting's remaining games August 6th. They've got to play a tough opponent in Tampa Bay. And then the following week, Arizona, who's been playing better the second half of the season, will be a tough opponent. The Cavalry, just with 1 game remaining, August 5th, will be at Miami. And the Hooters will be looking forward to taking on the Cavalry. This is the way it all adds up towards the end of the season to see whether these 2 teams have a chance of making the playoffs. John?
All right, Russ. Fort Worth won the toss. They will receive. You see Kerry Simeon back to return the kick. He is one of the leading kick returners in the Arena Football League. And kicking off to him, that gentleman, Tracy Bennett, whose numbers are now posted. We'll be talking about him as the game develops. He has really done a fine job. And here's the unorthodox Bay Parilli style of kickoffs. You see them huddling up and then breaking out into their lanes. And here we go in Fort Worth. And Simeon stepped out of bounds. That's a touchback, and the ball will be brought out to the 5-yard line.
Now, you think he did that on purpose? He wanted to bring the ball out. He was so deep in the end zone. Sometimes it's a better idea that if you're going to step out, that's the place to do it, because you've got to make up the 5-6 yards in the end zone before you even get to the goal line.
Todd Hamill, the starting quarterback. His numbers last week, not that impressive against Las Vegas, but he has really gotten the job done for the most part this season. 27 years old, out of Stephen F. Austin. He's a lumberjack, but right now playing for the Fort Worth Cavalry. They give right away to Conrad Lewis, who goes busting off the left side. Again, those side barriers are only about a foot to a foot and a half from the out-of-bounds line, so they certainly come into play. The starting lineup for Fort Worth: Wagaspat, Gary Kostar, Hinky Liggins, and Gary Compton. Also, Conrad Lewis had just had the ball. Their offensive specialists, Kerry Simeon and Todd Hamill. Defensively, those two go out, and Milton Cockrell, the defensive specialist, and Pat McGurk will come on to defend the Las Vegas Sting. It'll be 2nd down and about 8. Hamill's first pass of the game, wants to go deep, has his man, and that is a touchdown. Kerry Simeon puts it in, and Fort Worth is on the board early. Hamill with a lot of time, Russ, and Simeon was able to get behind the coverage and put 6 on the board.
Well, it's one heck of a throw here. We're going all the way down the field, and what a way to start the game. I take back what I said about Simeon not coming out on the kickoff.
Ian Halfield on to tack on the point after. He does. And how do you like that? 2 snaps and 7 points. Not bad. So Todd Hamill gets the job done early. Kerry Simeon on the receiving end. It's 7-0. The Cavalry's already on fire.
Alternative math. What do 1 crust sandwich, 1 order of hash browns, and 1 hot coffee add up to?
$1.99.
At Burger King, just $1.99 every day.
We may not be the world's #1 fast food place. It just tastes that way.
When it gets so hot, your shorts cling to your thighs in unnatural ways. Your dog keeps hogging your minifan. Your flannel shirt's just not working. And your boots start melting to the pavement. There's only one thing to do.
Tonight's Arena Football game on the Deuce is being brought to you by Burger King. Value every day. Have it your way. 43. So a 43-yard touchdown pass from Todd Hamill to Kerry Simeon, and Fort Worth is on the board. This man went 57 yards with a kick last week. That's Tyrone Thurman, the Smurf they call him, and for pretty good reason. He stands a whopping 5'3" tall, weighs in soaking wet. They say at 150. I'm not so sure.
That's with all the pads on, the helmet, the shoes, knee pads.
That's Thurman off the net, and he is stuck and brought down. Milton Cockrell, the defensive specialist for Fort Worth, down on the coverage there, and Tyrone Thurman brought down at about the 8-yard line. That is where Tom Porras and his charges will take over. Porras's work for last week against Fort Worth, 17 out of 33, 177 yards, threw a couple of touchdowns. Tommy out of the University of Washington. He's a veteran, to say the least. 36 years old, just loves this game, has come back for even more. Great performer with the Albany Firebirds, and now here is wearing the Las Vegas Sting uniform. Wheeling off the bat, James Johnson. He gets brought down for virtually no gain. The Las Vegas starting lineup: Pete Porcelli, Steve Clark, Hurley Brookins, Daryl Tillman, and James Johnson. Tyrone Thurman is their offensive specialist, along with Tommy Porras, the quarterback. And then again, when Las Vegas is on defense, Carlton Johnson, one of the better defensive specialists in this league, and Greg Lewis out of Texas A&M will be in to try and stop Fort Worth. And already the Cavalry, Russ, gets on the board in a hurry. 2nd and 7 for Vegas. Porras to Thurman. And Pat McGurk coming up to make the defensive play there.
Well, you know, one thing on that play with Thurman, and this happened at the beginning of the game, John. I was talking with Babe Pirelli watching. He was actually throwing a pass to Thurman on the sideline during warm-up. As we look at Pat McGurk here, the guy that broke up that pass, and he said he threw a pass to Thurman. The ball was low, incomplete, and he says, you got to come back to the ball, and that's exactly what Thurman should have done on that pass if you want to make the completion and avoid the interception by McGurk, is come back for the football.
Porras with time, looking for Thurman. Touchdown, Smurf. How do you like that? Pat McGurk was with him almost stride for stride, but
look at this guy. You think he's happy
Michael
about that?
Trigg not happy at all. The head coach of the Cavalry can do nothing but read him and weep, because Vegas
look at this protection.
comes up with the full house.
Look at the line. I mean, plenty of protection. I get excited about that. Sorry to talk over you, John, but I get excited when I see the line. You see McGurk, he was in position, and that inside, that far side arm, that's the arm that's going to knock that ball down. The ball just threaded the needle point through the loop for the completion to Thurman.
There is a penalty flag.
Conduct foul, number 81 on Vegas.
Well, there's a story about that. Tyrone Thurman gets called for the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. He and the Fort Worth coach, Mike Trigg, openly admit they don't care for each other a whole lot. Tyrone played for Mike Trigg when he was the Dallas Texans offensive coordinator for a couple of years. They didn't get along very well then. They don't like each other now. And last week, when Thurman went 57 yards with that kick, he brought it all the way out to the Fort Worth bench and spiked it right in front of Trigg. Well, and that's why you saw that look of disgust on Trigg's face. And there's Mike there. That is one guy he says, I wish we could shut out and stop. Of course, he wants to win the game first and foremost. But again, Thurman's a guy that he just does not get along with.
He did say one thing, though. Michael Trigg did say, I respect his talent. I respect his ability. He's a heck of a football player, somebody we're going to have to be concerned about tonight. And you saw, just before we looked at Michael Trigg, you saw Babe Pirelli on the sideline talking to Thurman, saying, hey, you got to cut that stuff out. We can't give up those kinds of yards. Those are 3 yards. It's tough enough to gain yards. You can't give them up like that.
Makes the job a little tougher for Tracy Bennett, but still, Bennett puts it through. He's good on the point after. And the ball game is tied. 2 possessions, 2 scores, and the shootout is on in the Old West. We're back at Fort Worth, where the Cavalry has come right back to even the score. It's 7-7 here at 10:49 in the first quarter. I talked about Tyrone Thurman. Look at that, 5'3", even a smaller number 4 forward. Coaches love to see that. This was last week against Fort Worth, off the kickoff, and there goes the Smurf. 57 yards on this touchdown, but the story is what happens after he scores. He wants to go to the Fort Worth bench right now. He wants to let Mike Trigg know, hey, coach, remember me? I didn't like you then, and I don't like you now. Boom, take that. And Russ, that's rubbing it right there in the man's face.
Yeah, and I don't think Michael's forgotten that. But Mike, you know, he's pretty mature for a young coach, and I think that his concern is this game tonight, knowing that how important it is for him and his team, their chances of staying in the playoffs, is just win this football game. Forget what happened last week.
We say young coach. He is 28, the youngest coach in professional football. The kick goes off of the side barrier. That is a touchback, but because the ball did not go past the end line or into the net, it's brought out to the 20-yard line. So Tracy Bennett, who prides himself on his kickoffs and his ability to put the ball so high, instead bounces one off the barrier and penalizes his team. The scoring drive, 3 plays, 42 yards. The big one, the 39-yard to the Thurman, came after 2:55. 7-7 the score.
You know, we're talking about the Thurman again and Michael as we watch Hamill come into the huddle here and getting his guys ready. As I said, Thurman has got to let this thing go, because what's going to happen is you just rile up. Dave Pirelli said before the game, we can't give them any other reason to get fired up and riled up against us, and Thurman's giving them that opportunity right now.
Hamill on the blitz. Pass broken up, but Greg Lewis may have gotten there too soon. And pass interference could very well be called on the former Aggie out of Texas A&M.
It may not be.
James Johnson, number 44 for Las Vegas, getting there untouched and just tagging Hamill. That takes its toll on a quarterback.
So Carl Paganelli makes the preliminary call. Let's find out now officially what the step-off is. You can see it's a major penalty against Las Vegas.
And a textbook tackle by number Johnson. Well, that's the way to break things up, guys. Somebody's got to come down with the ball. When the ball hits the receiver, the defender, the coach will tell you every single time, you know, you got to go for the football. Don't knock it down. You have a chance to catch it, catch it. That's easier said than done, though.
An 8-yard step off against Las Vegas. It's 1st and 10 from the 22. Hamill throwing downfield, and Simeon never saw him. He was down there tied up with Greg Lewis and had his back turned to Hamill. And Todd, with I guess almost no choice but to throw that one away, because nobody was really looking in his direction.
Well, Hamill did a great job there. When he threw it to the outside. If Simeon had any chance, he was going to turn around to hook. That was the only place, because you got Lewis to the inside. But Simeon, as a receiver, you've got to face your quarterback. You can't be sitting there pushing up against the defensive back because you think he pushed you. Just run the pattern, get off the guy, look for the quarterback, look for the ball.
Hamill again looking for the end zone. Intended for Simeon. It looked as though Carlton Johnson, number 1 for Las Vegas, had a chance to pick that pass off, but then Simeon came on the crossing route and had his hands on the football too.
Now watch number 1 for Las Vegas. You know, as a receiver, you hate to see this. Number 1, Carlton Johnson. He grabs the receiver. You don't get a chance to see it in this shot, but he grabbed the receiver by the jersey as he went by. That's why the receiver did not get underneath for that football. You know, defensive backs. I know that's where the play is, right here, the Simeon, but Johnson was holding on that play, and the official should have picked it up.
It's 3rd down and 10 from the 22 for Fort Worth. And flags galore are thrown. Carlton Liggins was the intended receiver. And Hamill talking with Carl Paganelli, our referee this evening. The step off is going to be against Las Vegas, and Fort Worth keeps the drive alive.
And again, 44 Johnson for the Sting, coming in and pummeling Hamill. Hamill, unhappy about it, got up and started screaming at the official right away. Downfield, Las Vegas playing bump man-to-man all the way. There's a lot of physical stuff going on downfield. There's going to be some guys swinging here real soon, John. Well, there's the button right there.
Pass interference, number 6 on Las Vegas. 8-yard penalty, 1st and 10.
The pressure again on Hamill. He has been scrambling a little bit, and he says James Johnson came after me a little bit late.
Yeah, I think that call on Joe Brookings, too, number 6. A little holding, a little physical contact. Both these teams want to win badly.
That's Kelly Blackwell, former tight end out of TCU. Here's a guy that you can really appreciate. Blackwell catching 181 passes in his career. That's an NCAA record for a tight end. Now, where were all those passes for you up at Oregon?
Well, I only played 1 year.
I know.
And I asked Kelly before the game, I said, you catch those all in one season? But yeah, he was a very, very good tight end, and they've got to use his abilities, because not only is he a good pass receiver, but he's a pretty good-sized guy. You know, he's 6'2", 242 pounds. He can block, too, so give him the ball, give him some room to run with. He's a good runner.
Yeah, for a tight end, that'd be about 10 seasons, ordinarily. Right?
Exactly.
Hamill has his pass go incomplete. Again, Johnson on the coverage down there, and he gets up and likes to talk a little bit. He's a young man that Bay Pirelli thinks has the possibility of moving on and playing on a different level. He says this is a guy who can really get the job done.
You see Buff here. We call him Buff. Rick Buffington for the Sting was an assistant with the Patriots when I was there many years ago. Rick is a real emotional guy. He knows his football. He gets right to the players. He's a hands-on guy. You saw Babe Pirelli talking to Joe Brook and said, hey, listen, you guys, the physical stuff is okay, but you got to stop this grabbing and bumping beyond the 5-yard line, that 5-yard area. Give the guy a chance to catch the ball, but blanket him.
Hamill has the ball go out of the hands of Simeon, and that'll bring up 4th down.
You know, I'm going to make a prediction here, John. I don't like to do this early in the game, because you can look bad sometimes.
Not you.
I think we're going to see a bunch of flags downfield, the receivers and the DBs. And in this league, these guys, most of them play both ways, or a good number of them. Number 1, Carlton Johnson is putting the wood on everybody that comes in his area, grabbing, punching, kicking, slashing, biting. These guys are after each other. They look like a bunch of linebackers in miniature.
Ian Halfield is good from 29 yards out. Halfield putting it through. That's a 3-pointer. If you drop kick it, that's 4. But hey, with the hold, he'll take the 3 and the 3-point lead. The Cavalry on top of Vegas here in the first quarter.
Any car with airbags will help protect you in a head-on collision. The new Volkswagen Golf has airbags, crumple zones, and side impact beams, so it can help protect you from any angle, including this one.
There's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. I think it's time to stop. Children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Get out of the old and get into the cold.
The new Volkswagen Golf features a track-correcting rear axle and an improved turning radius of just 32.5 feet, all of which makes the tight-handling Golf the perfect car for the city.
You bet they're fired up here in Cowtown, and I say that in the most pleasing of ways. The most, I mean, that's what they like to call for.
Absolutely. Don't be embarrassed.
Well,
it's okay.
Cowtown, USA. Hey, they're still playing baseball. Boy, they're playing baseball around here, I want to tell you, with Kenny Rogers the other night. But Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN, Ruben Sierra, a former Ranger, now with the A's, taking on Cecil Fielder and those long ball Tigers. That's on ESPN, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Joe Morgan, John Miller making the call. Sunday Night Baseball. Get it while it's hot.
Well, that was exciting yesterday, wasn't it? At Ranger Stadium. You were there.
Yes, I was.
Got to see it.
At the ballpark, first chance to see the ballpark. We got there a little late, but still, was I treated to that perfect game or what?
Yeah, it was a perfect game by Kenny Rogers. First left-hander ever in American League history. Man, that guy had a great day.
And Halfield having a good day himself. A touchback. The ball will be brought out to the 5. The scoring drive capped by the Halfield field goal. 6 plays, only 12 yards. It covered 4:14 off the clock. I tell you, it was something to be at that game last night, though. I mean, you all were making fun of me a little bit when I came into a restaurant afterwards and tried to tell you about it. It was just an incredible experience.
Here you go. All right, let's go here. Let's go 3 wide, wing vertical. Let's go 91 special. H go on. Ready?
Well, I got the 91 special part, and I got the 3 wide. We got Tyrone Thurman going in motion towards the line of scrimmage. He's going to go as a bullet.
Thurman with a lot of cushion gets rammed into the sideboard, but he still picks up the first down.
Not very big, but a lot of heart, this guy. You notice that it took almost 4 guys from the Cavalry. The Cavalry arrived all at one time, 3 or 4 guys, and they all tried to get a piece of him. They let you know how they feel about this guy. He does a little talking, so when they get a shot on defense to hit him, and look at this. I don't know if that's legal. He takes McGurk and stands him up as a receiver. You're supposed to just be looking for the football. Watch this. Here, everybody come. Hello, Thurman. Hello. No, it's my turn. Here, one more time. We get Clark in there to try and peel the guys off.
Well, you know what to say. If they don't call it, it's not a penalty.
Yeah. Well,
first and 10.
Coaches don't like to see that stuff.
Horace in trouble. Dumps it off to the 20-yard line. Mike Wilpolt there, the receiver, makes the catch and picks up about 3.
And that's the kind of thing that Horace brings to this team is the experience. Get rid of the ball. There's no sense fighting it. He's being pressured from his backside. He can't see. He made an immediate impression on the Las Vegas Strip last week by passing for 2 touchdowns in his debut game with the Sting. But he brings that brings the players up to the next level, gets them excited, and doesn't give the opposing team, in this case the Cavalry, a chance for a loss to drop the quarterback. He gets rid of it.
To go!
Horace to Thurman, and Tyrone comes down, and the side barrier comes with it, and that man's got himself a souvenir. And Thurman's shaken up. It is not often you get a full shot on that little guy. We said he only stands 5'3". But boy, Fort Worth unloaded on him that time.
Well, there's one part of the body that is real sensitive as a football player. Your shoulders are padded, and you see it only 5'3", 150. He plays like a much larger man, but he came down on his ribs on that sideboard, then got hit and jammed into it. You got pads everywhere, in most cases as a receiver, but your ribs.
Those 72 catches, more than double any receiver on the Las Vegas roster. He's looking for Thurman downfield, and Tyrone gave a little shot that time to Pat McGurk. Perhaps frustrated by the coverage, but he wanted a piece of the action there, and now McGurk is going to go back and talk with the back judge there and let him know just what's going on.
Well, Thurman's in pain. I mean, I know what his ribs are feeling like right now, and he's a little aggravated, and plus he can get kind of upset easily. Babe Pirelli said, we got to, try and cool this guy down, and if I were the coach, when he comes off, he did take a shot to McGurk's head. You cannot allow a receiver to express himself with anger like that, especially going downfield. That's an automatic penalty. It should be.
This is a 45-yard attempt by Tracy Bennett. He has made 2 from beyond 45. This one is in play. We saw the ball bounce off the Fort Worth blocker downfield before Kerry Simeon could fall on it, and Fort Worth takes over from their own 8-yard line. Fort Worth taking over from their own 8-yard line as the Cavalry and Vegas hook up for the second time in just 6 nights. Fort Worth was on the losing end. Las Vegas beating them 47-37. The Cavalry's on a 3-game losing streak. Vegas was on a 3-game skid until Fort Worth came to town. So now the Cavalry's hoping to repay the favor. There off the timeout. Hamill gets them all lined up. They go to the draw. That's Chuck Weatherspoon, the former Houston star. Out of the run and shoot, John Jenkins and Jack Pardee, and the Spoon at 5'8", 240. You talk about the opposite ends of the spectrum. We have Thurman on one side, who's 5'3", 150. Here's Spoon at 5'8". Well, they have him at 240. I think he might push that a little bit.
Yeah, he pushes the limit just a little bit. Good move, though. He comes down on 1 foot, spins, just trying to get extra yardage. Good running backs will do that.
Quickly out to James Dixon. He picks up the yardage for first down as they get the ball close to the midfield stripe.
Well, you saw number 57 there just coming in at the very end. I hate to see guys spearing like that. George Lindberger for the Sting, putting the Sting in the pile. And sometimes you hit your own guys when you do that. He wants to challenge Mark Gastineau to a boxing match. This guy's had a few professional boxing matches, and now he wants to take on Mark Gastineau, who was a pretty good boxer himself, not to mention defensive end for the Jets.
Hamill looking deep downfield, has Dixon. Touchdown, Fort Worth.
Great concentration. Mike Wilpott, I'm surprised number 8 Wilpott for the Sting looked like he was there. Dixon just being patient. That ball's in the air a long time. Dixon in motion here. He's going to go down and make a post move towards the center of the field. You see, there's not really much of a fake. He's just trying to outrun Wilpott, excuse me. And it wasn't a matter of speed. It just looked like Wilpot just lost track of the football.
Halfield add the point after here. Hopefully he'll try to for Fort Worth. And Hamill striking again through the air. Halfield is true. And the lead goes to 10.
Put those pads back in there, young man.
So James Dixon makes it 17-7 with just 58 seconds remaining here in the first quarter of play. Again, he had Mike Wilpold beaten by a step and made it count for a touchdown. I'd like to remind you all of what's coming up. The Pro Football Hall of Fame inductions coming up. Tony Dorsett, Randy White, couple of Cowboys making it in their first year of eligibility. Also Leroy Kelly of the Browns, Jackie Smith, your hero, former tight end, Jimmy Johnson, not of the coaching fame, but of the San Francisco 49ers. Bud Grant, former head coach of the Vikings, going to go in. You can see it on The Deuce, Saturday, July 30th, 10 o'clock in the morning from Canton, Ohio, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And there's a look at Cisco, the Wonder Horse.
There's my horse. And you're right, Jackie Smith was one of my heroes. That's why I chose the number 81, because Jackie Smith, in my book, was the best tight end that ever played. He, John Mackey, and Mike Ditka were three of the finest tight ends. I used to watch film on those guys. Now I'm going to watch film. Now that I'm through playing football, John, I'm going to watch film of Cisco. It's my favorite horse in the whole wide world.
Okay, Pancho. Thurman holding those ribs. Remember, he got racked up in the side barrier the last time Las Vegas had the ball and then took a shot from a Fort Worth defender. So let's keep an eye on the Smurf and see if that affects his play from here on out. A good return out to the 13-yard line. The Smurf, one of the leading return men in this league. And he is shaken up. You can see him grabbing those ribs, and that gives you the sign that, you know, there's a crack or maybe some cartilage damage or something in there, because I don't know if you've ever had an injury of that type, but, you know, with the breathing, it becomes so difficult, so painful.
You want to feel this rib right here, John?
No, thank you.
It sticks out. It's been separated and torn, the cartilage. They ought to take him out of the football game. That's an area of the body that you should not play around with. You really should not let a guy take the risk. He's holding his ribs, obviously in great pain. Get him out of there.
Horace going deep instead to Mike Wilpold, and there's Thurman and McGurk getting into it again. And again, and again. Now, if he's in pain, he's doing a good job of masking it right now, because McGurk is with him step for step.
These guys, now McGurk seeing the opportunity. Okay, a little shove here. Yeah, okay, buddy. He must not be hurt that bad. Look at Thurman says, my ribs don't hurt that bad. Now, if my ribs are hurt, you don't start getting in somebody's face. McGurk gives a left hook here to the ribs. It's over.
Got to keep your guard up.
Yeah,
so far, Vegas has had a tough time doing that. The Cavalry has jumped out on top, 17 first quarter points. They lead by 10.
Imagine playing beautiful melodies the moment you touch the keyboard. You'd be the life of the party. Now you can. The revolutionary Play the Piano Overnight by Patty Carlson, the amazing home video course, guarantees you'll play beautiful music the very first time you sit down. The secret is Patty's incredible shortcut method that makes playing any keyboard as simple as dialing a telephone. There's never been anything like it. Even if you've never read music or played a note, you'll be playing beautiful music in just minutes. Children love it. No more lessons and scales. It's fun and easy to play the piano the Patty Carlson way.
I enjoyed them a lot because I learned a lot. I had a good time. I didn't know that piano lessons could be so much fun.
I said, play the piano overnight? Come on, me? That's ridiculous. But I watched the tape, and the next day I was playing the piano. There were people in my apartment building passing by me. The piano's in the lobby, and they were stopping. They couldn't believe it was me.
From the very first day I saw the first tape, and I played those chords across there, that was beautiful. I knew that this was the easiest way I was going to learn how to play the piano.
I always wanted to play the piano before, but it was always a struggle. And with Patty's way, it's easy.
Over 200,000 satisfied people purchased the Play the Piano Overnight videotape for $59.95. But wait, for a limited time, you get the videotape, audio cassette, and finger charts, all for the incredible low price of only $19.95. That's a $40 savings, but you must order now. We're so sure you'll play the piano the very first time you sit down that if you're not completely delighted, return it for a full money-back refund, no questions asked. Give the gift of music to yourself, family, and friends. Order today.
To order, call 1-800-258-2999. That's 1-800-258-2999. Have your credit card ready or send a check or money order for $19.95 plus $4.95 shipping and handling to this address. Order now and save $40 off the regular price. You'll get to play the piano overnight videotape, audio tape, and fingering cards for just $19.95 for a limited time only.
17-7. Fort Worth on top of Las Vegas, and Tyrone Thurman may have to wave that white flag of surrender and call it an early night. 2 catches tonight. Those may be his only catches for the night, though. They're going to see how he's doing in there. Banged up ribs, and this was the play. And Russ, it wasn't the side barrier, although that hurt, but Eric Turner coming in late there didn't help matters either.
And as we mentioned earlier, Thurman has not endeared himself to the Fort Worth Cavalry. Turner hitting him looked like a little bit late there, and they're going to take the shots. McGurk, number 4 for the Cavalry, has already exhibited a great deal of aggression against Thurman because of his antics towards their coach and them. And now I can't believe really at this point if Thurman really is hurt that they're leaving him in the game, because the rib area is not something you want to goof around with. The bruised muscle is one thing, but rib area, it could do a lot of damage in a hurry.
Pass completed there to Darrell Tillman, his first catch of the night. And there you see Thurman. He's 4th in the league in receptions with 72. And as I said, he has more than double any other player on the Las Vegas roster. So they like to have him in the game. That's an understatement. They'd love to have him in the game because of all the things he does to a defense.
But you see when he's running down the field, now Babe's trying to make the decision. He's going to ask his other coach, what do you think? He's hurt. When he runs down, he breaks down into a pass pattern. He's compressing those ribs. And that's what's really hurts. He turns his body every single time. There's a compression there. There's a lot of nerves that run up through the rib cage, and he's feeling a great deal of pain.
Tillman looking to throw, but no way. Gary Kostar was there to mess up the plan, and Tillman is sacked for a big loss. Kostar with his 4th sack of the year. I guess we could give him a sack on that because Tillman was looking downfield.
Kostar's got some really good heads up. He doesn't fake. He doesn't go for this fake at all. It's supposed to be, it looks like a run pass option. Kostar just doing exactly what the defender is supposed to do. Don't jump up and try and block the pass if that's what it was. Just go in and lay the guy low, and that's exactly what he did. Put him down.
This will be 58 yards for Tracy Bennett. He made one of 52 in a game a couple of years ago, but this one goes out of the end zone for a touchback, and the ball will be brought out to the 5-yard line. So Fort Worth has a chance to put some more points on the board. They already have 17. They're looking for more.
Two MVPs, 2 rings. I've been working hard. Maybe this year, I'll take a little time off. There, that was refreshing.
All men are created equal. Some just work harder in the preseason.
John Wall's here with Russ Francis as Fort Worth looks to pile on some more points. Todd Hamill has already put 17 up there. A chance now to put the ball on the 5-yard line and take it from there. Hamill out of his own end zone throws a strike to the far side of the field. Not quite enough for the first down, but a pickup of about 8. Kerry Simeon, the receiver there, and kind of interesting. You would think that Hamill being a hometown player and that he is on the Fort Worth team, they could get the spelling on his jersey right. Hamill, as his mom and dad spell it, has 1 L, but that has 2 tacked on the end of it.
We got to talk to the equipment manager about that.
Interesting too, he has a twin brother named Tad, Todd and Tad. Well, his brother, or his dad's brother, also has twins named Todd and Tad.
Must be fun at the family reunion.
I'm telling you. Well, this is Todd of the football family in and out of the hands of Simeon. Different middle names, though, I might add.
Oh, really? Do you know what they are?
Todd Shane Hamill and Tad Lane Hamill.
Oh, you're too much, man.
Yeah, I
tell you what.
You got to know these things. 4 out of 9 so far for Hamill. He hits about 56% of his passes for the season. 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions coming into the game. Of course, already tonight, he's thrown for a couple of scores. 3rd down and 2 now from the 13. The staggered count. Did they come off sides or were they drawn by the left side? Let's see what Carl Paganelli and his staff decide.
Well, it's drawing the guys offside. Sam Hernandez, number 55, has been real aggressive all day long. He's knocked Hamill down in the backfield a couple of times, been quick on the line, so that staggered count will help the Cavalry.
So the call is encroachment, offsides against Las Vegas. The 3-yard pickup, enough to pick up the 1st down, and so Fort Worth gets a fresh set of downs. Mike Trigg and Todd Hamill have some more room to operate with. They get the ball out to their own 17-yard line. Trigg, a former quarterback himself. He quarterbacked on a couple of championship teams in the Arena Football League for Detroit back in 1989 and 90. And for the past 3 years had been the offensive coordinator for the Dallas Texans. This is his first head coaching job. Remember, just 28 years old. This guy's a puppy. Hamill with a lot of time. And Chris Barber has it inside the 20-yard line, down to the 16.
And this is what a receiver dreads, really. Barber right in the middle of the field, number 82. Greg Lewis could have taken a real good shot of him, but Lewis trying to concentrate on maybe knocking the ball down or getting the interception. Barber doing a really good job over the middle. That ball's up there a ways. It gets crowded. You know that you're going to get hit. Barber doing a great job of just hanging on to the football. That's where you get your money. That's where you make your money. Chris Barber here, 30 years old, you know, you say, well, maybe he knows better after all these years, but doing a great job of concentration.
Pick up at 17, the ball down to the 16. There are whistles, and we're going to stop and reset from there as the play clock was ticking away and may have gotten down to 0, which it indeed did, and so there'll be a 3-yard step off against Fort Worth. They'll go back to the 19-yard line.
I got something for you.
All right.
John.
Russ.
Your name, John?
Yes.
Well, we'll listen here first.
Sure, Carl has
something.
Carl.
Right.
Yeah.
Play a game on the offense.
Well, we knew that, Carl, but
down.
thanks for telling us again. 3-yard penalty.
Stalling. See, in wrestling, you get a warning for that. In football, you get penalized.
You know
3
Gene
yards.
Nudo, right?
Yes.
You know, Director of Operations for the Arena Football League?
Yes.
He and his wife, Mary, just had a child.
I knew that.
John Kerr Nudo. Do you know what his nickname is?
I do not.
One-Eye Jack. Because for the first couple days after he was born, just a few days ago, at 9 pounds, 11 ounces, one eye just like he's winking at you. Just stay close.
How big again?
9 pounds, 11 ounces. Of course, Gene's not a small guy either.
No, he's not. Incomplete pass there. It'll be 2nd down. Yeah, it's like they're raising a baby sumo there is what's happening.
Well, Mary's petite and lovely, and Gene is gargantuan. Well, I don't want to say it. Yeah.
Gene's just big, yeah.
Well, John Kerr Nudo.
Here's
there.
Gino to our
Here,
right.
Daddy.
Congratulations,
There you go,
Dad. Yeah.
Way to go.
I think he said
way to go, Mary. We're going to give
That's great. That's great.
Give the congratulations to Mary Nudo for putting up with Gino. And now they've got the One-Eye Jack. I've got a friend in Newport Beach called the One-Eye Jack. He's got a boat called the One-Eye Jack. We ought to take you over there and have some fun.
Russ at 2nd and 13.
Ooh.
Oh, what a grab by Barber. It'll bring up 3rd and short, but Chris Barber with the glue fingers that time makes the catch and picks up about 11.
And Barber doing a great job running against Greg Lewis. Las Vegas in this case playing man-to-man coverage. Number 91, Lynn Rowan was coming in to put some pressure on him, but Barber stretching on. That's another hard catch when your hands are reversed. They're not facing the football. They're kind of upside down. He had to extend for that. Barber again doing a great job of concentration. Hamill putting the ball where he can catch it so a defender cannot knock it down.
Well, Barber with NFL experience. He's played for the Cowboys, Bengals, and Bucks. Played in the Super Bowl as well against your former 49ers.
Well, he's limping right now. His left foot was damaged.
Hamill to the end zone is brought down way back. Mitchell Benson, or rather Steve Clark, applying the pressure there. He was intending that pass for Kerry Simeon.
Something
also
happened.
knocked along the way there. Barber lost his helmet somewhere in that shuffle.
Well, he took it off and threw it down. His left foot is really hurting him. He just came off the line, John. I noticed just as he came off the line of scrimmage, he started limping. So if it was from the previous play, we didn't notice it coming back to the huddle, but here he's obviously having trouble with his left foot. Now see him start to limp right there. He's not pressing off anybody, and now he just can't get across the field. He can't put any weight on it. You see him fighting right here. These guys just going at it. Carlton Johnson, as I told you, was slugging and pulling people around earlier. Barber decided to sit down and take another look at it.
Ian Halfield now on for a 24-yard field goal attempt. He was 1 for 3 between 15 and 30 yards before this game. Make it 2 out of 4. Halfield splits the uprights there. Ian Halfield with his second field goal of the night. And Fort Worth has scored on every possession. They're up 20-7. Vegas has to get something going. They're down by 13.
Pro Jeep Eagle Chrysler Plymouth has your car for Colorado driving. Like Neon, Automobile Magazine's Car of the Year. Neon has dual airbags and more interior room than any car in its class. And Pro has 40 1995 models now available for as low as $0 down and $149 a month. Wrangler, it's the #1 small sport utility in the world. Personalize your soft or hardtop Wrangler for as low as $0 down and $179 a month. At Pro, we've got your car. Pro Jeep Eagle Chrysler Plymouth, 1 mile west of I-25 on 104th.
Seen any great movies lately? Check out what's on Stars in July.
This is fun.
It's summertime on Stars, and the movies keep getting hotter. Call this number to order Stars and Encore for just $4.95 per month.
Ian Halfield putting another field goal through the uprights, 20-7. Fort Worth on top of Vegas here at the 8:36 mark of the second quarter. Coming up, the Baseball Hall of Fame induction ceremony, Sunday night, 6:30 Eastern Time. Steve Carlton, Leo DeRocher is headed into the hall along with, holy cow, huh? Phil Rizzuto, your main man with the Yankees.
Absolutely. Finally.
Headed into the Hall of Fame. You can see it Sunday night at 6:30 on ESPN. The Hall of Fame ceremonies coming up. Leo DeLip headed into the hall in Cooperstown. Back returning kicks, an unusual practice there for Greg Lewis. Usually that's a chore handled by Tyrone Thurman, but Lewis brings the ball out to the 8-yard line. The scoring drive again capped by the Halfield field goal. 7 plays, 36 yards. It covered a little less than 4 minutes. And back into the game is Tyrone Thurman. So the little man is back up and on his feet again.
Well, that takes a lot of guts to come back in the field with ribs that are banged up as bad as his are.
Because you're a marked man now, too. Everyone knows that hurts. And they're going to Thurman, and he gets racked into the sideboard again. And there's McGurk.
Now look at McGurk. He's screaming at Thurman at the top of his lungs. I want you, man. I'm going to pin you up against the wall. McGurk here rooms with Dana McLemore, who is such a great defensive back and returner for the San Francisco 49ers. McGurk is a pretty good-sized guy himself. Look at this, going right for the head. This is called intimidation. This is called trying to pull a guy off of his game. This is called McGurk smells blood, and he knows that Thurman's injured, and he's going to try and injure him more.
Forrest to Thurman, and there he goes again. How much is too much? He's like that little bunny. He just keeps going and going and going, and there he goes back to the huddle again.
Well, somebody should have explained to number 81, Tyrone Thurman, a long time ago, that when you pop off to a coach or to another player, as he did to Mike Trigg, the other guys don't take it lightly. Look at this. McGurk slamming him into those sideboards, and this is what's so dangerous. And with his ribs already bruised, they're going to pay a lot of extra attention to number 81 tonight.
Well, there are a lot of former Dallas Texans on both teams, and so there's a bit of rivalry going on there. The Texans, a team that disbanded after last season, and a lot of players were picked up in the various Around to the expansion draft. They're breaking on the ball. Carlton Lagan's almost coming up with the interception, but there was a penalty flag back near the line of scrimmage. The intended receiver that time, Joe Brookins. But again, there's a flag back at the line of scrimmage. And Carl Pagnelli is waving it off. He says no penalty, and so we'll reset. Third down now for Vegas.
Yeah, it looked like Brookings. We got a guy down here on the field. We can't really see who it is because the board's blocking us.
Now, I think that might be Thurman down there. It's hard to tell. I don't see number 81 up and standing anywhere, and the Smurf may be down and out for the count. So when we come back, it'll be fourth down for Las Vegas. Timeout on the field again. Fort Worth on a roll. Ouch. 20-7 on top of Vegas.
These days, controlling your money is trickier than ever before. You've got to watch every move you make. That's why Discover Card offers the Smart Rate program. With the Smart Rate program, the more you purchase with your Discover Card, the lower your rate can go. Because we don't think carrying a balance should cause you to lose your balance. It pays to Discover, the card that pays you back.
7 days a week. At 6 a.m., I start the engine, and I run it 6.2 miles under 40 minutes. 2 miles is the point of perfect lubrication. I imagine my body in a 6-foot cylinder of oil. No friction, no drag, and I can run forever.
John Wall's here with Russ Francis. 20-7, Fort Worth on top of Las Vegas here. The injury timeout for Tyrone Thurman, and this is a young man who has really shown some courage here, perhaps a bit to the extreme side, because the stretcher and the emergency crew are on their way out, and Thurman has really taken a pounding here. You saw him get shaken up earlier in this game. He got knocked into the sideboard. Eric Turner came over with a tough hit to the ribs, and Babe Perilli now is going to face the rest of this game without his main offensive threat. Let's just hope Thurman's all right, because they're going to bring out the board and strap him down, and that gives you at least the early indication, Russ, that they're fearful of perhaps some kind of back or neck injury. They want to make sure he's all right, so they'll take every precaution now to move him. And of course, we thought it was the rib that was hurt earlier. But
well, that's what happens, John. Is if you do have ribs, you've got sore ribs, you have an opportunity to you're protecting that, and you can hurt something else like your back. I think what happened too, they're worried about his neck. When he got slammed into the board there, his head hit first. So the EMTs, the guys that are the medics, they're going to make sure they're going to cover every eventuality. We can sit here and speculate all we want. We know his ribs are bothering him, but they're going to make sure that they protect his neck, his head, and his back and ribs. So we'll get an update on that and see what's going on. I don't have his head strapped down, so evidently he's not complaining about any neck pain. So right now, all we know is that his ribs have been hurting.
And we know that, again, he took a shot to the ribs, and he's been holding the right side there of his rib cage ever since then. And so Thurman taken off the field. You see McGurk over there talking to him, and well, let's hope it's not overcoming injury, because he's getting pat on top of the head there. Nice to see McGurk showing that, but just the same, this was the last big hit that Thurman took from McGurk. Nothing illegal about that, but you saw him go head first, and again jarring all the way down into those ribs, and Babe Perilli, the head coach, almost getting taken out himself.
Yeah, and the first thing hitting the boards, you hate to see that, is his head folding back a little bit, but it looks like it's his ribs. It also, he took a heck of a hit his head. He might be ringed a little bit, but McGurk showing a lot of class coming up. You play the game hard. You play it tough. He doesn't want to see anybody hurt here. It was a good, clean hit. It wasn't hit from, he didn't try and rack him in the back or his knees. We got a fourth down here. McGurk just playing with a lot of class.
Tracy Bennett now trying a 58-yard field goal attempt. He's got a lot of leg, but this will be wide to the left and very returnable. Simeon with the return gets the ball up to about the 15-yard line before he's knocked out of bounds. Other action going on around the Arena Football League tonight. Orlando 9-0 being tested tonight by Earl Bruce and company. 20-16, the Predators on top there. The Charlotte Rage Galen Hall beating the Miami Hooters 9-3. That score in the second quarter. Both of those teams are in the playoff hunt. Charlotte would love to have a win. You see them at the bottom of the standings there in the National Conference. But a win tonight puts them very much into the fray as far as the playoffs are concerned.
Well, those Predators in a class of their own is going to take a real effort in the Arena Bowl to beat them.
On the draw, the bulldozer, Kelly Blackwell, ribs it out close to the first down marker.
Now this guy, former tight end, and he's doing just the opposite for what a lot of players have done. They've gone from fullback to tight end. Here's a guy that goes from tight end to fullback and showing that he can run. Look how tough he is. He just keeps on driving. That's it. Tuck that ball away. Kelly doing a good job spinning, driving, keep those legs moving. See his feet never stop moving. That's a sign of a good runner. That's where the heart comes from.
They give him credit for 10 yards. That's his longest run of the season and good enough for a first down and an interception. Mike Wilpold on the deflection gets the ball out of the air for Las Vegas, and the Sting comes up with the turnover. How do you like that? 3 bounces, but it came up big.
Well, Wilpold was about the 5th guy to get his hands on that ball. It bounced around 3 or 4 or 5 times. You see Simeon just getting a hand up on it here. Then Kerry Simeon almost had it with the one-handed shot. Then Wilpold grabbing it. Nobody moved at first. Nobody thought it was a playable ball.
Boy, it was as if James Johnson coming along there on the last tip was serving it like hitting like a volleyball player, yeah. Coming up, making the dig there, and letting Wilpold come up with his 3rd interception of the season. And as is the case in arena football, hey, you stay in there. You play both ways, and now Wilpold is split wide to the right side of the field. The kid is the Johnson, and he goes nowhere. Big James last week had a 37-yard touchdown run. He's run for 66 yards this season on just 11 carries.
Here you go. Let's go 9 wide, H vertical. Let's go slide left, F check right. Almost ready.
Well, that's a mouthful, isn't it?
I think it's going to be a pass, Russ.
A little trigonometry thrown in there. Geometric language.
Morris under fire to Johnson out of the backfield. Close to a first down. Horace saw the blitz, and Johnson went right to the spot that the linebacker had vacated, and that puts them close to the first down marker.
Well, the fullback just checks, holds off for a second and waits for the line to scatter. And then you see him just sort of scatter out at the last, well, not the last second, but gets out there, gives himself plenty of room. Conrad Lewis, that is, excuse me, breaking right to the empty hole. Let those linebackers split, then find the empty hole. Great move. James Johnson, I should say.
So it's 1st and goal from the 8. Horace. Too soon for his man.
It's kind of interesting, John. I keep catching myself doing this.
About 8, we're good.
These guys play both ways in Ironman football. You get 44 and 44 on both teams. Conrad Lewis and James Johnson. They're hard to keep track of these guys because they play defense, both being a factor on defense, and then coming in and being receivers and running backs on offense.
Ball just inside the 9, 2nd and goal from there. Of course, there's 2 Johnsons as well in Las Vegas. They have Carlton Johnson, number 1, and James Johnson, number 44. Tillman, the man in motion, looking for Tillman. There's a penalty flag in the secondary, and that usually says offense. You're going to get to move a little closer to the goal line.
Well, it looked like number 4, Pat McGurk, and he's been playing a heck of a game so far. It looked like he may have nudged just a little early. That's where you get your hand up, sort of bump the guy just before the ball gets there, and hope the referee doesn't see because you know the guy's got to step on you. We'll find out here.
The preliminary call, defensive holding. Let's see what Carl Paganelli has to tell us.
Defensive holding, number 4, half the distance, first down.
Okay, nudging, holding, bumping, whatever you want to call it. Number 4, you see Pat McGurk straightening up here. Now he's just going to get a hand around here, grab the leg, bump, pull, whatever. That's not right. You can't do that. You're just not allowed to do that. Daryl Tillman, pretty good sized guy. You see Daryl turn around and say, That's not fair. McGurk getting called. That is a very, very bad place to make that mistake.
Do you think he said it? Do you think he turned to the official and said, "Hey, that's not fair"?
That's not fair.
I don't like that.
Yeah. That's what receivers say. That's not right.
Did you ever say that to an official in your 14-year NFL career?
They're
Did you
either going
say,
to call it or they're not.
official, that's not fair?
Well, I said one thing once, our rookie year, and that was the last time I said it.
Johnson up the middle, touchdown, James Johnson. His 4th touchdown of the season, and Las Vegas is right back in the football game.
Babe Pirelli doing this on passing, and see the stutter step here by Johnson, sort of a hesitation. He checked. That's what he did on the pass play a couple of plays ago. They're letting the linebackers spread out in that man-to-man defense down there. Nobody seems to be picking up Johnson, number 44. It was sort of like a fake toss dive play. They just let the fullback sit back there for a second so he can read what the defense is doing.
Tracy Bennett, the point after, it is good. And it's a 6-point game. So Las Vegas, after being shut out for most of the second quarter, gives the ball to the big man, and he comes up with the big play, and they're right back in it. 20-14, the Cavalry on top.
Now, to each man who shaves, there's an edge all his own. Only Edge Gel has 8 custom formulas to fit every shaving need. From tough beards to sensitive skin. For a close, comfortable shave, get an edge of your own. Edge Gel, skincare for men. Ultimate closeness, ultimate comfort. That's the edge.
Yes. Ooh. We've selected a family I've never seen before for an absolutely unbiased scientific taste test on which is the ultimate beverage, Pepsi or Coke. Let's see what they chose. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
We chose Pepsi. We chose Pepsi.
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 Great-looking family.
Las Vegas has come back to get back in the football game. 20-14, Fort Worth still leads the no. And coming up, your favorite sport, Mr. Francis, roller hockey. Voodoo, the Vancouver Voodoo, and the San Jose Rhinos.
Down to the Bay Area, the Rhinos.
On the Deuce, Monday night, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Of course, you folks in Oregon and Francis territory there can catch it at 4 o'clock on ESPN2. That's the Voodoo of Vancouver.
Or you,
Rhinos of
or you
San
can
Jose.
catch it. You can catch it in the afternoons right down off of Franklin Boulevard when I'm rollerblading. I still haven't figured out how to stop.
That is a touchback. The ball will be brought out to the 5-yard line. The injury report, by the way, on Tyrone Thurman, the early word is 2 cracked ribs. He's being x-rayed and being checked over a little bit, but that's the early diagnosis, and obviously, if that's the case, we won't be seeing much more of Tyrone this evening.
Well, you want to make sure, too, that there aren't any internal injuries as we look at Tyrone here. When you get hurt like that, the ribs have a tendency to tear tissue, either cartilage or soft tissue around them. And there are organs in there that the ribs have been known to puncture: lungs, kidneys, spleens, a couple of guys I've known over the years. So you've got to really be careful and make sure that they check them out very thoroughly.
Hamill getting the ball out to Carlton Liggins. As we close into the 1-minute mark, we'll put the 1-minute time rules into effect once we reach the 1-minute mark, which means if the ball goes out of bounds, an incomplete pass, or a timeout, then the clock is stopped. Interesting, last week, Fort Worth's leading receiver, Gary Compton, only had 1 catch tonight. He's yet to catch a football. Number 1 is Carlton Johnson, who's done a great job of containing him thus far. Until now, boy, he was hoping down the middle. Instead, Hamill goes out to the wide side of the field to Liggins, who picks up the first down. But that time, Compton had broken loose down the middle. What they're doing is, and obviously, Russ, if we can take a look as the next play develops, is Johnson's coming up and really jamming him at the line of scrimmage, pressing him, and then releasing him, but making it very difficult for Hamill to find him downfield.
Well, Michael Trigg yesterday said that they were going to really try and intimidate the receivers. Bump and jam.
We are down to the 1-minute mark, so again, the timing rules go into effect. That's Compton in motion at the bottom of your screen. Hamill looks him off, goes deep, and it's intercepted and dropped. Greg Lewis made the pick for Las Vegas. It is a touchback. The ball brought out to the 5. Lewis with his team-leading 4th interception, and that will turn the tide and give the ball right back to the Sting.
Greg Lewis giving a little glance over to Coach Michael Trigg, too. Maybe in honor of his teammate, Tyrone Thurman, who's out with ribs. Hey, it's heating up.
Yes, indeed it is for Michael Trigg and company. They lead by 6, but the Sting is ready to strike again.
I've been training with weights for about 10, 12 years now. We call it Neville aerobics. So I love it because it helps my wind, you know, hit those high notes. Working out is part of my life. When I can't do it, it's like a letdown. It's just a nice thing to be able to look at my body and feel proud of it, and it makes me feel good.
ESPN2, people who do.
Las Vegas getting the turnover. Greg Lewis the interception, 20-14. Fort Worth, though, still has the lead with 51 seconds to play here in the first half. The Sting scoring a touchdown, and the last time they had their hands on the football was James Johnson, who had the honors for 4. Right now, they've got to go 45 yards to hit pay dirt. Tommy Porras tonight, 5 of 14, 73 yards, 1 touchdown pass for Las Vegas. Out of his own end zone, looking deep for Brookins, and he overthrows it.
Ooh, man, I'll tell you what, look at this. That hurts, too. That artificial turf is not as spongy and as soft as everybody thinks it is. Brookins just stretching out, full body stretch. No cushion when you come down, hitting on your stomach and chest. That's really giving it everything you've got. You see the fingertips, just a few. That's why they call it a game of inches. Sliding on that turf. See him try to get his arms up because that turf tears your skin off. It's called turf burn.
And it doesn't feel good.
No, it doesn't, and it stays with you for, you know, the weeks. Your weeks go by, your skin keeps trying to heal, you keep tearing it off. It's a bad deal.
They give to Len Rowland, and you saw, and you might have heard the pop as well at home. Rowland taking a shot as the ball crosses the 5 out to the 6, and Vegas doesn't appear to be in too much of a hurry here to get much of anything going. And now Fort Worth wants to call a timeout, so the Cavalry burns one of their remaining timeouts. Each team gets 3 in the half.
You know, people at home watching this, they hear that impact. Like you said, you could hear this at home. They get the urge, they want to do this. Well, I welcome them, you know, at home. Get somebody across the room to run at full speed, dive over the couch like he's trying to jump over the line, and tag him right in the chest. It's something you can really enjoy at home. Put the beer or the Coke down off to the side. Give your loved one a chance to feel what it's like to be on the field. Just get a couple-yard run at it.
Well, maybe later in the lobby we'll get the gang out of the hotel and see how that works.
I'm just kidding. Don't try this at home.
54. Wing Burt. Here you go. Come here. Hey, guys, come here.
Yeah, come back here.
Hey, you got to give me protection here. We get the first down. We're on the clock, at least, if not a touchdown right here. All right? We're going to go 8 wide, wing vertical. Don't break the huddle. Okay, here you go. Ready? Here you go. 8 wide, wing vertical. Let's go 54, rip, S, hook and go, already.
A hook and go, that means the receiver is going to stop at about 6 yards, face the quarterback, and then sprint back down the field. That's why Tommy's asking for more protection. This play takes a long time.
Horace has his man, Daryl Tillman, out close to the 25, out of bounds, and the clock stops with 26 seconds remaining.
Tillman decides to make sort of a stutter step. You see him in motion. He'll make a stutter step and break to the post. You know, we heard the hook and go. That was on the other side of the field. And this is one thing that Tillman does very good here. He comes back at a flatter angle, giving Porras a better target. If you drift upfield, that gives the defensive back a chance to come underneath, knock the ball down, or interception. 6 feet, 197 pounds. This guy, Tillman, can move.
He, too, is a former Dallas Texan, now playing with Las Vegas. As I said, several of each. Timeouts remaining. Vegas has 2. Fort Worth, which actually just used one a moment ago, they have 2 timeouts as well remaining. They stopped the clock and might have given Las Vegas a little added push here because now the Sting gets to put an extra timeout in their pocket in that regard, and that's going to cause the defensive charges over there of Las Vegas, or rather Fort Worth, to come up with another plan here. Tate Randall, the defensive coordinator there, talking with his troops. How about tomorrow night? Hey, what a game we have for you on ESPN. Yeah. Tampa Bay and Arizona. Those two teams right now, each at 6-3. The Storm, led by Jay Gruden. Arizona and head coach Danny White are home in the America West Arena. The place will be rocking, I guarantee it. 8:30 Eastern time. That's 8:30 Eastern time on ESPN. It is sold out, as always. They always sell out that place. Forrest now on first down, looking for Tillman. And the pass goes incomplete. 5 seconds expire off the clock. 21 left to go in the half.
Well, you know, with the score 20-14, you've heard of Angels in the Outfield, the new movie that's out. Las Vegas has got to be looking for angels in the backfield. With Tommy Porras has got to make something happen, get down either close enough to score with a field goal or put the ball in the end zone. They've got to get those Angel guys working in your backfield for you.
Aren't you a poet tonight, huh?
What do you think?
Oh, it's all right.
He can do it.
Yes,
I know this guy can do it. He can strike at any time. He's got some good receivers, and Daryl Tillman and Joe Brookins.
They pick up the blitz. Porras looking for the end zone. And the pass is knocked down by Milton Cockrell. There you see the defensive specialist for Fort Worth, the former Oklahoma State Cowboy under Pat Jones and Stillwater.
You know, Porras was looking for number 80, Daryl Tillman, downfield, and if he hadn't gotten sort of pushed out of the pocket a little bit and made to step to his left, he could have gotten that ball off sooner. 49 Cockrell would have not had the time to recover to knock it down. That's why you need the protection. It's so critical for the quarterback so he can throw the ball when he needs to throw it.
So if they are looking for an angel in the backfield, would this be a Halo Mary pass coming up?
Yes, exactly. Yes. Angels in the backfield. We have Gene Nudo, who's doing a little art here, drawing pictures of angels and people in the backfield and all that stuff.
Interesting. I think the coaching story here is kind of interesting, too. You have Mike Trigg on one side, 28 years old, the youngest head coach in professional football. On the other sideline, you have Babe Parilli, 64 years old. Babe playing his 14th season of professional football the year Michael Trigg was born. And look at that. Babe in his career, 16 years in the old AFL, the old American Football League, the NFL and Canadian Football League, and backed up Joe Willie Namath from the Jets back in 1968. Of course, it was the 69 Super Bowl when they beat the Colts and Bubba Smith. And Joe said, I predict we will win. I guarantee we will win. And everybody was so shocked back then losing.
He also came up with a saying, I can't wait for tomorrow. And people asked why. He said, because I get better looking every day.
And there's the young man, Michael Trigg.
Well, Babe played for my former team when they were the Boston Patriots. And I got a chance to play a couple years against Joe Namath. And Babe Parilli was every bit as good.
Morris to Brookins, fighting to get out of bounds, and he does at the 15-yard line. 9 seconds left, and so Vegas will have a chance to take one, maybe two more snaps before the end of the half.
Now that's where the Angels come into play here. We watch number 6, Joe Brookins, go downfield, but Tom Porras puts a lot of zip on this ball. It's sort of like superhuman zip. See, it almost goes through the hands of Brookins. You see it just kind of almost slid out of his hands. Struggling to get out of bounds to stop the clock.
And to get that first down, too. But it will be short of the first down, so it's 4th and about a foot.
Good time. It's all right. Hey, hang on. Hang on. It's all right. What do you want to do? It's okay. We got one timeout. Hey, it's okay. What do you want to do?
Yeah, this is where experience comes into play with 9 seconds left.
Yeah. We got to kick it. Okay, that's okay. Just whatever you want to do, take your time and do it. Let's kick it. And let's wait till the end. Just wait till the end. Here. 5 yards.
So critical here. Okay, they want to go in. If they score now, they can tie or go ahead of the Cavalry. So this play is very critical for Las Vegas.
Hit it now.
Well, you heard the head coach there in the huddle, Babe Parilli, saying we got to kick it. We got to kick that field goal. And so that means Tracy Bennett will be called on for the honors. He's already out on the field and making his mark. And now Fort Worth taking a look over as well, just to make sure that is number 11 out there. Bennett, quite a character. He kicked for the Denver Broncos at one time. In fact, earlier this season against Massachusetts, he banged his head and got a little silly, got a little goofy in that game, and thought that he was with the Denver Broncos still for much of the game, and
couldn't wonder, why are we playing indoors?
Yeah.
Why are the Broncos playing indoors? He just couldn't understand why that was happening. Bennett now with 9 seconds left, attempting a field goal from the 22-yard line. Tack on the extra 8 in the end zone. It's about a 30-yard attempt. The kick is up, and it was no good. Wide to the left, and so Tracy Bennett is off target. And with 4 seconds left in the half, the score remains the same, 20-14, Fort Worth.
Well, you know, you can always second-guess the coaches on this. Say, well, why didn't you go for the score? It's a long kick. He's been having some problems with longer kicks. He's been hitting scoreboards. There's no scoreboard here. But why not go for it, at least get a chance to tie it up? Well, the coach wants to go into the halftime with at least some momentum, some score, 3 points, anything.
Well, after these two teams combined for 24 points in the first quarter, they have 10 between them here in the second. So the defensive efforts have certainly picked up on both sides.
Well,
Todd Hamill back in to take what should be the last snap of the first half.
I guess the Angels were on a coffee break or something, huh? The Angels in the backfield for Las Vegas. What do you think?
I think that we need to work on that.
Not me, Las Vegas.
That's what I mean. And that almost takes up the last 4 seconds of the first half, but there was a flag on the play. Mike Streak will head off to the locker room. Perhaps, yeah, the officials are still there consulting at midfield. Fort Worth might have to take another snap here. Let's see what the call was. It was a penalty against Las Vegas. A face mask is the call, as Carl Paganelli tells us, our referee this evening, and so it will be first down once again, an untimed down, as he says, so it goes back to being first down all over again. Well, in order for that to be an untimed down, if they wanted to put the time back on the clock, that means that penalty would have to have occurred before the snap, would it not?
Well, face mask doesn't happen before the snap, obviously, so I'm not sure, but there looks like the Cavalry getting ready to kick.
A 58-yard attempt there, Ian Halfield. He is 1 of 9 from 45 yards and on. He had a 58-yarder when he kicked for the Houston Oilers back in 1991. This would tie that. And it won't even be close. It is returnable and will be taken back by Greg Lewis, who fumbles the football. It's a live ball, but is ruled a touchback. It rolled out of bounds there by the side barrier. Unfortunately, we couldn't see it, and that was a lucky break for Babe Perilli's Las Vegas Sting, because that ball was live in the end zone.
Well, Gary
the initial
Kostar.
call, if you excuse me, Russ, the initial call, and
That's
now
Gary Kostar here.
We've got Carlton Johnson out here having to get into a scuffle with one of the Fort Worth players. The initial call was touchback. There is some discussion as to whether it might have been a safety. Lewis fell on it and then was tackled in the end zone.
Gary Kostar doing a great job of coming up and slapping that ball away, and like you say, they're signaling a safety.
And it is a safety, and so Lewis apparently fell on the ball in the end zone and was tackled there by Fort Worth.
We have a safety. The ball was carried out of the end zone, fumbled back into the end zone. It constitutes a safety and 2 points for Fort Worth.
Thank you, Red Cap. That explains it to a T. So Babe Perilli wants this thing cleared up, but the fact of the matter is Greg Lewis took it out, had the ball in the field of play, got it knocked away loose into the end zone. It rolled out of bounds in the end zone, and so it was not ruled a touchback, although, again, that was the original sign. The officials, rightly so, got together, made the consultation, and said, no, that's 2 points. And so Fort Worth gets a deuce on the board. We're at the break. They lead by 8.
Would you go fishing with a lawnmower? Then why trim your lawn with fishing line? It gets all tangled up, and you're always replacing it. Here comes the Weed Terminator. Install it once and that's it. Instead of this, you now have this. 3 totally awesome cutting blades. Weeds are defenseless against them, and trimming has never been easier. It's the most beautiful, hassle-free lawn care you could imagine. The Weed Terminator is made in the USA with durable serrated nylon cutting blades that swing out and are held in position by centrifugal force. The entire unit installs quickly and easily in your gas-powered trimmer to give you a perfectly manicured yard each and every time. The high-performance self-sharpening blades whiz through even the thickest grass and weeds. So stop fighting with that awful trimmer line. Turn your gas-powered trimmer into a powerful Weed Terminator. It just keeps on trimming and weeding time after time. Broken trimmer line? Terminated. Wasted time? Terminated. Expensive replacement spools? Terminated. Thick grass and weeds? Terminated. The Weed Terminator puts an end to all the aggravation. It's designed to fit all these popular gas trimmers, and it's yours now for only $19.95. But wait, you also get an extra set of blades free. And if you call now, we'll tell you how you can have these high-fashioned protective goggles. They meet all safety standards, block harmful ultraviolet rays, and they're yours at incredible savings. Don't miss this opportunity. Call and order now.
Call toll-free 1-800-532-1818. That's 1-800-532-1818. Or send $19.95 plus shipping and handling to Weed Terminator, P.O. Box 3600, Wallingford, Connecticut. For fastest delivery, use your credit card and call now 1-800-532-1818. That's 1-800-532-1818.
The guy, all right? Just trying to bait him. Everything's fine. You're hitting pretty good. Forcing the ball. Just stay with the game plan. Stay with the game plan, okay? Guys are doing a good job blocking. Just get a little bit more. Just grab a little bit more, all right? Reach down inside, man, because we're getting the ball. Reach down inside.
Let's go back on those drive.
Great.
Hey, listen, it's 22-14 because of little things. Because of little things, and this half's going to come down to little things, too. Let's take care of the little things. We're all right.
Where's Nathan? Nathan. Come here.
Well, you hear him inside talking about the little things right now. It's the little things that's bothering the Las Vegas Sting. A little thing we saw at the very end of the half there where Greg Lewis fumbled the ball, went into the end zone, out of the end zone. A safety for Fort Worth. They get 2 pretty cheap points there, Russ.
Well, that's the one thing that you don't want to have happen before the half of the game. You want to go in with some momentum, and as we were asking for angels in the backfield for Las Vegas, they didn't get that. In exchange, they got the safety, and it's kind of a goofy play. We didn't get a real good look at it. The ball was brought out of the end zone, knocked away by Gary Kostar, which put the ball back in the hands. It rolled out of bounds in the end zone. The officials calling it a safety, 2 points for the Cavalry. I mean, that's the last thing you want to happen. Get the ball away, run the clock out, anything else but that.
One of the more potent weapons as far as Las Vegas is concerned is missing in action right now. I'm talking about a small man who makes a big contribution to this team, Tyrone Thurman. He went down with what we believe to be an injury of cracked ribs, at least 2 cracked ribs. He's out for the game, and if you would, the impact of losing him in a game like this when they're thinking about the playoffs and Roy would like a win to keep that track in sight.
Well, the first thing that's got to be considered by everybody, including Dave Pulley, the coach, is the player's safety. Thurman showing his ribs were hurt when he went up against the boards and being hit in the side. He kept, play after play, kept holding those ribs, laid down a couple times, kept coming back in. And I'm not knocking Babe Pirelli's judgment to let him stay in there, because many times the coach will come to the player and say, can you still play? Yes, coach, it's just a bruise, I am fine. But obviously we saw when he got hit late down, farther down the field, that is not the case. They're concerned now about internal injury as well. They say he's got a couple of cracked ribs. We'll stay on top of it and let you know how he's doing.
14 points right now on the board for Las Vegas. Tommy Porras would like to see a little bit more of that, and he's talking about that very thing inside the locker room right now with head coach Babe Pirelli.
I like 66 yet, too, with the S. S on the go. Okay.
He's already on the go automatically. He's on the go automatically.
Right. Okay. Hey, one time out. Good ball. Let's go be afraid of this. Come back to that. F check.
Oh, he was blitzing all the time. He forgot that. He never got caught. Oh, why?
I know. I go, no one's on him.
Okay. All right, great. We just got a little more to overcome. We're good. All right. 16.
And take it across.
Okay, if he's manning and if he's playing zone, then you just hook it up and go from there. All right, let's go. We got to get loose. Short halftime.
Well, he is cool and calm and very much in control right now. Mike Trigg and the Fort Worth Cavalry leading 22-14. Let's take a look right now around the Arena Football League and see some things that are happening on the arena scene. Kenny Stucker of Milwaukee kicking for a league season total field goal record of 23. Stucker on his way. He was on his way to being a hero last week in a game against Cleveland. Had some problems, unfortunately, in the last play of that game, but still on his record-setting pace this season. Orlando tonight going for their 10th straight win. You saw the score earlier. They're on top by 4 at the half. That 10 wins in a row, that would tie the 88 team of the Chicago Bruisers. And Barry Wagner, Mr. All-Around of this league. You talk about an Iron Man. How about Wagner of Orlando? He needs 66 receiving yards to break 3,000 yards for his career. Barry Wagner, we saw him in the very first game we did in arena football, Tampa Bay and Orlando. He put on a show that night. He keeps doing it night after night.
Well, he can do it, and he's got the experience. Another guy that I noticed at halftime, John, Tom Porras for the Las Vegas State, he was smiling in the locker room. They're behind 22-14, but he's smiling. What that does, it tells me he knows they're within striking distance, and that gives the other players around, they see that confidence, they see that attitude. Hey, let's come back out and strike quick, strike early. We can still win this football game. It's that type of experience, it's that type of leadership from a Tom Porras that will give the Las Vegas Sting a chance to win this game and maybe go on to the playoffs.
Well, the Sting will get the ball when we come back. Porras would like to get something going offensively. He'll get a chance in just a moment. Right now, his club trails by 8.
Halftime, he knows that his team is playing well. He's going to miss Tyrone Thurman, number 81, who we hope is going to be just fine with those cracked ribs, which never feel good. But he's got the leadership ability to make these guys play. The key is going to be those little things. They can't make give the turnovers. They can't make mistakes, the penalties, those type of things. It'll kill you in a game like this.
As we said, Orlando going for a record-tying 10th consecutive victory, and they're on their way tonight. They're up 34-16 over Cleveland. Again, that score only in the third quarter. Charlotte leading Miami 16-5. So the Hooters apparently the recipients of a safety tonight as well. It is ironic, by the way, that Orlando coach Perry Moss on his way to 10 straight wins. Well, the team that had won 10 in a row, the Chicago Bruisers, their head coach back in '88 was Perry Moss. So he's ready to repeat that feat, this time with a different club. Touchback, ball out of bounds to the 5-yard line. That is where Tom Porras in Las Vegas will take it from there. Porras, again, the 36-year-old, playing in his second game with Las Vegas, came out of the Canadian Football League after a stint up there. 7 out of 18, 101 yards, 1 touchdown. Not great numbers for Tom.
3 wide, wing vertical. Let's go 91 special. Already.
55.
Well, a lot of teams, a 90 pass is just a short, quick pass. Which is what we get here.
That's what it was. Quickly out to Darrell Tillman. Tillman with 27 catches coming into tonight's game. He was the second leading receiver on this team. And with Thurman out, I would look for number 80 to be a very busy man here in the second half.
Yeah, he and Joe Brookins, number 6, you're going to see them get the ball. And when you see Porras doing something that they need to do to get their confidence going in the second half, those short control passes will give them a chance to keep the ball moving, ball possession, moving down the field. You can't do too much of that short stuff, though, because the line having to play both ways, it keeps them on the field too long.
Porras to James Johnson that time.
Here's a guy that can do it all. He can run and catch the ball, so when he goes out and flanks out that way, you're never sure whether he's going to get the pitch or get the pass. Johnson here, he's kind of disheveled.
Here you go. Hey, hang on. Let's go. 2 trade. Let's go 2 wide trade. S vertical. 61 special. S and H go already.
S and H. This is a green stamp special here.
Yeah.
That's right. And they're both going to go downfield. So Porras is going to need some extra protection, some extra time here.
Instead of the playbook, you need some green books. Let's see what happens. Looking deep. A grab. Nathan Burchett, touchdown Las Vegas.
Well, he called double goes, and boy, they double went all the way down the field. Nathan Burchett, one guy that Coach Babe Prolly says is going to be a key player for us. Great concentration. Didn't really go up for the ball. He waited till it came down, hit him in the chest. But great concentration, and Porras putting it right on the money. course, also taking a hit after that, just at the end of that play, too, so showing great concentration and poise on the quarterback's behalf.
And now Burchett has to run back on. He's on the extra point team.
He's kind of excited.
He's got to get back out there. Bennett now for the point after. And it's off the upright, so the lead stays at 2. Bennett misses again, having some rough going tonight. But boy, this is a sweet connection for the Sting. Nathan Burchett pulls them within 2.
To you, the new Volkswagen Golf may not look more aerodynamic than a Porsche 928. But then, you're not a bug.
By day, Stanley Ipkiss is your average Mr. Nice Guy. But at night, he puts on a whole new face. Okay! With these powers, I could be a superhero! But first, hit it!
Call me Cuba Pete.
Jim Carrey is The Mask, rated PG-13. Now playing at a theater near you.
Snap out of it!
Any car with airbags will help protect you in a head-on collision. The new Volkswagen Golf has airbags, crumple zones, and side impact beams, so it can help protect you from any angle, including this one.
Welcome back to Fort Worth. John Walls here with Russ Francis as Las Vegas strikes very quickly, as actually Fort Worth did open up this football game. Back just as quickly comes the Sting, and Tracy Bennett having a rough night kicking. You saw the fan there make the catch. That's all right. You can run with that thing. You can keep it. No one's going to take it from. Where are you? Hey, come back here. Fan gets to keep that thing. That will be brought out to the 20-yard line. The second time tonight now, Russ, that Bennett has kicked the ball for a touchback, and the ball has been brought out to the 20. And Tracy's having a tough time. As I said, he has missed 2 extra points, and now on 2 kicks, the ball did not reach the end zone. Instead, was brought out to the 20. The scoring drive, 3 plays, 45 yards. Burchett with the touch. His first catch of the night, if I'm not mistaken. And now Hamill finds Kerry Simeon. They cross midfield, the ball down to the 23.
I guess who's in there to lay a little wood in there? Nathan Burchett, the guy that just got the touchdown pass. Now in Ironman football going both ways on defense. Here he is. He's a big guy. He's 6'2". I think maybe he might be a little bit taller than that. 215, 220 pounds. Does it all. Wide receiver, defensive back, coming in there, putting in the hit towards the end there, finishing things off. Says, if I'm going to get hit, I'm going to hit somebody.
Second down and about 3. Hamill on the scramble, and he crosses the 20, so he picks up the first down. Todd Hamill.
I like that.
Hamill on the scramble?
Yeah, I think a little Hamill scramble eggs.
He's ready to ramble.
Yeah.
Picks up the necessary yards.
Well, when you don't have anything, make something happen. They always tell the quarterback that it's your decision. You're the pilot in command. So when things are going wrong, you can't find a man downfield, and doing a good job of just diving to the turf, protecting yourself, cover the ball.
1-2, ready?
Hamill, 9 of 18, 132 yards. He's thrown a couple of touchdowns, but he's also been picked off twice. One of those, a sensational interception on a deflected pass. The screen pass to Conrad Lewis, picks up a couple. Burchett was in on that stop. Also, John Dixon in there mixing it up for Las Vegas.
You know, number 55, Sam Hernandez, has been doing a great job of putting pressure on the quarterback. You see, Hamill doing a good job getting his leg out of there because Sam was about to tear it off and beat him over the head with it.
There's a look at Hernandez. He had a sack in the end zone for a touchdown. The ball knocked loose last week. In and out of the hands. Incomplete. Gary Compton still has yet to catch a pass in this game. And Compton was one of the leading receivers in the league. He had 63 catches coming in at 62 before last week's game. He only had 1 catch as Carlton Johnson really shut him down. But Compton so far has found the going very, very difficult here this evening.
Well, he just tried to move just as that ball was getting into his chest and hands, and he wanted to move upfield before the ball was really caught.
You see that 96 points he has scored. He's 5th in the league in non-kicking scoring. He's 4th in the league in receiving. Up top, they're going for the touch. The flag in the end zone was Simeon interfered with. They're saying that Greg Lewis was all over. If that's the case, that's the second time tonight that Lewis will have been called for pass interference. I'm sure Rick Buffington does not agree with that, the defensive coordinator for Las Vegas, but Carl Paganelli says pass interference against Vegas.
You know, sometimes it can be a fine line when both the defender and the guy on offense are going after the ball.
Number 82 on a defense. First down.
You know, they both kind of get there at the same time type of deal, and everybody's shoving and pushing, and we'll get a chance to see whether Carl Lewis, make that Greg Lewis, gets up. Yeah, that's pretty. Well,
see, if he was Carl Lewis, he wouldn't have to. He'd be there. He would have made the play.
If Carl Lewis would have been outside the building.
Yeah. Hamill has to get rid of it and does. Heads up play by Todd Hamill as he comes back, and another flag is thrown. And Joe Brookins was over there and may have been the culprit in a late hit.
Well, you know, I don't know. It's the ball is thrown. We can't see from here whether the guy's foot is out of bounds, but Brookins, well, he's up against the sideline. Yeah, that's definitely a late hit. I didn't see him touch the sideboards. Those are bad. You know, coaches hate those. That's a mistake. That's a bad play.
Personal foul. Number 6 on Vegas. First down.
You know, especially after Greg Lewis is called for pushing. Brookins now on a late hit. You're just giving all the impetus and the momentum for the Cavalry to come down here and score. The defense is not supposed to be doing that. You just got to shut them off legitimately. You can't give them these easy yards.
Yes, you are giving them all the impetus.
Impetus.
Yes, you are.
Yes. Watch, there's more impetus coming right now.
Ball on the 3.
Watch this. I'm predicting more impetus.
That's Kelly Blackwell looking for impetus and the end zone, and he's got it.
Okay.
The big tight end from TCU takes it in. That was momentum, baby. And Blackwell is in his 3rd touchdown of the season, and Fort Worth is back on top by 8.
Now, how appropriate for a guy, a fellow tight end, and former tight end, Kelly Blackwell, to prove my theory of impetus, miss. They're going in for the score. He's not going to be denied. This is a guy that's got a lot of heart. He sees a goal line, he goes after it. He's not going to be denied. I like that. I like that impetus stuff. Kelly Blackwell, number 32. It's written all over him. Mr. Impetus.
And with emphasis, Halfield puts it through the uprights. Blackwell bashes his way in. And it's 29-20 Fort Worth.
Family, the physically handicapped Amateur Musical Actors League presents Fiddler on the Roof at the Denver Performing Arts Complex. Evening and matinee performances every weekend, July 22nd through August 7th. For tickets, call 575-1104. Group sales, call 778-7724.
Sunrise, sunset, sunrise.
Pro Jeep Eagle Chrysler Plymouth has your car for Colorado driving. Like Neon, Automobile Magazine's Car of the Year. Neon has dual airbags and more interior room than any car in its class. And Pro has 40 1995 models now available for as low as $0 down and $149 a month. Wrangler, it's the #1 small sport utility in the world. Personalize your soft or hardtop Wrangler for as low as $0 down and $179 a month. At Pro, we've got your car. Pro Jeep Eagle Chrysler Plymouth, 1 mile west of I-25 on 104th.
John Walls here with Russ Francis. It's 29-20 Fort Worth on top of Las Vegas. They get the touchdown, trading touchdowns these two teams have done here in the 3rd quarter. Sunday Night Baseball, Joe Morgan, John Miller. They'll be in Detroit for the A's and the Tigers. Ruben Sierra taking on Cecil Fielder and the Tigs, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 o'clock. And Tony La Russa, of course, calling the shots. Tony, could he be here on hand tonight?
I think he's watching ESPN2, the Deuce tonight, watching arena football. You have those little TV screens in the dugouts. Look at this. You know, you got 4 plays. only 30 yards. It takes up 4 minutes and 10 seconds. It's unbelievable.
Well, remember, that clock keeps rolling, too, until the extra point is tacked on. That ball goes out of bounds. It would be placed out at the 20. And so both kickers being very generous right now to the opposing teams, and both teams enjoying good field position. Of course, if the ball went over the end line, it'll be marked at the 5. And that's what the referees are saying. So getting a bit of a break here. Ball close to being out of bounds. Instead, it's a regular touchback. The flag is waved off, and it will be brought out to the 5-yard line. The flag was thrown originally, but then on second thought, they decided it crossed the end line. There's a look at Halfield. His dad, Bobby, a very good kicker in his own right for 8 seasons in the NFL. Ian's been around the block, I'm telling you. Kick with the Dolphins, the Seahawks, Broncos, Oilers, Eagles.
Well, both the kickers having problems. I don't know what the deal is. There's nothing to obstruct their kicking. Just got to kick it up towards the net. There's a big enough area to do that. Those guys, I don't know. Sometimes I get down on the kickers. I don't mean to.
Horace, and there's a flag down. So that may be all for naught. How appropriate here in Cowtown that that's not James Dixon, that Darrell Tillman gets bulldogged down.
Well, it looks like it's going to be denied by the Sting. It looks like the penalty will be against Cavalry, and it had to happen right at the line of scrimmage because the call came early.
Linebacker out of the box. Penalty decline. Result of the play, 1st and 10.
So the play will stand. The illegal defense is the call. The linebacker not where he was supposed to have been. Milton Cockrell missing the tackle, and when the man who's supposed to make the stop doesn't rush, that gives up big plays.
Yeah, it took James Dixon to come all the way downfield. Cockrell missing that tackle. Excuse me, and the linebacker sitting back out of the box just before the play was snapped.
1st and 10 now from the 17. Horace intended for James Johnson. It falls incomplete. That'll bring up 2nd down for Vegas. There's a big man in Brad Hinkie with the vertical.
What is 62, Coach? H. Switch out. All right.
Of course, getting his way there.
Here you go. All right, let's go. 3, switch out. Darrell, you inside. Wing vertical, 62. On 1, ready? Slide left. Slide left. Slide left. 62.
Well, Tom Porras wanted 62. Overrode the coach's veto there, and 62 it is. Tillman in the end zone. Touchdown, Tillman. He wanted 62. He got 6 and maybe 2 with the point after. But hey, Tommy Porras got what he wanted.
Great move by Tillman here, flattening out, and Porras putting the ball exactly where it's supposed to be. But Tillman, the key there is that when you flatten that pattern out, you do not give the defender behind you a chance to cut underneath you. You've already taken that route away from him. Porras also taking a good shot towards the end of that play, showing poise. He knew he was going to get hit. He knew he had a touchdown. Nothing was going to stop him. That's experience. That's a cool, calm quarterback. That's why he was smiling at halftime. He knows he can do it.
Bennett, who has struggled tonight and has missed 2 extra points, trying to avoid the 3rd. And just barely does. Sneaks it inside the left upright. But it's 29-27. Horace on the money. Tillman in the end zone, and Cockrell comes up empty.
Down boot stood.
Hey, everyone likes to go out and have a good time.
But if you've had one too many, here's a few suggestions to combine with your night out.
Like calling a cab.
Counting on a friend.
Designating a driver.
Or hey, do what we do. Take the bus home.
Let's hit it, Joe.
Miller Lite and Brooks & Dunn remind you to please think when you drink, because that's a great sounding combination.
Hurry into Pro Cuts now. Get a great Pro Cuts haircut and register to win Pro Cuts Cuttin' Up at Walt Disney World Resort giveaway. 5 fun-filled days for 5 people to cut up at beautiful Walt Disney World Resort in Orlando, Florida. You could even win a free Pro Cuts haircut every month for a year. Pro Cuts Cuttin' Up at Walt Disney World Resort giveaway. Don't delay. Cut up for Pro Cuts today.
29-27. Fort Worth and Vegas as the Sting has come back to strike and put a couple of scores on the board here. And I'd like to tell you what's coming up on the Deuce next Friday night. The Charlotte Rage and the Massachusetts Marauders. The Rage, they really need a win. Galen Hall and his crew just to stay alive in the playoff chase. And Don Struck as Massachusetts pointed toward at least one home field advantage game in the first round of the playoffs, maybe two if they can advance to the semis. But again, that's next Friday night on the Deuce, Massachusetts and Charlotte. There's Simeon on the return. Gets the ball out across the 10, close to the 11-yard line before he is brought down by Steve Clark. The scoring drive covered 45 yards, just 58 seconds there. You were complaining about those lengthy drives. How about that one? Less than a minute. Tillman, 17 yards, a whole 62, and it's 29-27.
Well, it's nice to see the receivers and the quarterback working together. Tillman and Porras, in that case, working on a good timing pattern. Tillman running that flat pattern right across the middle. Porras finding him for the tee.
Go! Hut, hut.
Hamill out quickly to carry Simeon, who stepped out of bounds at the 15-yard line. The clock, though, will remain running, as it does in arena football, until the final minute of each half. Todd Hamill with the instructions. Into the huddle he goes. Again, Hamill has thrown 26 touchdown passes coming into tonight's game. Two in the first half. And he has 28 for the season. James Dixon with the catch.
Going for those possession side passes. Mike Wilpot, coming up for that late, not late yet, but Trigg and Hamill here talking about just possession, just move the ball down. We're only ahead by 2. We got to get down and score.
Left, wing high motion, all the way around. 38 toss, wide fold. 1-2, ready?
Sounds like that Chuck Weatherspoon's number's about ready to be called here. Let's see what the Spoon's up to. Indeed, they go to the big little man. The bowling ball goes around the right side. There's a flag on the play, though. Chuck Weatherspoon, the former University of Houston star.
I think the Sting moved just a little bit early on the bottom side of our screen, the right side of their line. Yeah, they're pointing towards the Sting guys. Here's Chuck. 5'10", 240. He's a block and a load.
5'10" might be a little generous.
Number 50 on the defense. 3-yard penalty. Replay to down. First.
John Dixon, the guilty party. Chris Barber. You saw him go down earlier in this game for Fort Worth, limping on that left ankle, sprained ankle, will not return tonight. So Barber is out for Fort Worth, and Tyrone Thurman is gone for Las Vegas. Both teams losing wide receivers. I would venture to say that Thurman's loss is a bit more damaging to Las Vegas. Hamill going for the end zone. And another penalty flag is thrown on Greg Lewis, who is shaken up there in the end zone. You can see Lewis on the left side of your screen as he and Kerry Simeon went into the barrier there beyond the end line, and Lewis is down. Obviously, Greg shaken up, the former Texas A&M star, an outstanding running back at A&M, but has really found his niche here defensively in this game, having a tough time tonight. They've been picking on him all night.
Number 82, 8-yard penalty, 1st and 10.
That's the 3rd time tonight, Russ, that Greg Lewis has been called for pass interference.
Well, there's a couple of those. Well, at least one out of the 3 where I thought it was pretty darn marginal. I mean, he's been playing a good blanket defense, playing tough all the way. I didn't really get a good look other than the last part of that play where he slammed into the boards. And it really is a matter of he was just trying to turn and stop before hitting the wall. He wasn't really interfering. Going up to the ball here, you watch him come down on his foot and his ankle. Looks like it might have sprained and twisted right there and folded it. You know, that's where you see the injury where it comes right down that ankle and folds his foot back. Boy, that's painful. but he's up and walking, so we're glad to see that he's okay. But he's one of those guys that plays tough defense, man. He's going to get in there and test you all the way. We also heard that Barber will be back next week, John. We just got that report back. He won't be back for the rest of this game, but he will be able to play next week. So that'll be important for the Cavalry if they win this game especially.
You know, we were kind of making the joke there earlier on one of the plays when Lewis was called for pass interference, saying, hey, if Carl Lewis was back there, you know, at that speed. Well, Greg, in his defense, was an All-American sprinter at Texas A&M, so he could get the job done on the track as well. It's just that tonight he's been picked on and has not performed as well as I'm sure he would like, being called 3 times now for defensive pass interference. Hamill, oh, what an interception by Carlton Johnson in the end zone. Johnson takes the shot, his 4th interception. He leads Las Vegas in that category. A one-handed grab, and that kind of looked like Jack Tatum of old there with all that stickum there and grabbed a hold of it. Johnson comes up with the INT. A one-handed special. You got to love that. Todd Hamill certainly doesn't. But Las Vegas has the ball and a chance to take the lead when we come back.
Communication involves a sender, a receiver, a medium, and a message.
Listen carefully.
Did you hear that?
Question: what's the best way to lose a tooth in the summer?
Roller Hockey International. Monday at 7. The Vancouver Voodoo play the San Jose Rhinos. All the action. Hold the ice.
29-27, but Fort Worth has committed the turnover. I said Jack Tatum, but old Lester Hayes used to gob it up too a little bit, didn't he? Huh?
Well, he threw that, whatever it was, that sticky stuff all over his hands and arms. Tatum never made a play like this with one hand. I mean, this is a great, great play by Carlton Johnson. Now watch this. He says, you know what, this is what makes a game. Well, this guy doesn't have any stick 'em on either, but this is what makes a game. Big plays. You got to have guys playing like this. Carlton Johnson says, give me the ball, I'll make something. Look at this up against the wall. Woo.
Carlton not only played his college ball at UNLV, he is from Las Vegas as well. And as we told you earlier, this is a young man that Bay Pirelli thinks has the chance to really go far. And a flag is down as Darrell Tillman was trying the old stop and go. And defensive back came up and may have gotten in his face as the ball was in the air. Eric Turner was on the coverage there. There's a lucky fan, a little man going home with a souvenir tonight.
Well, you got that hook pattern. You got the hook pattern, and Eric Turner, number 7 for the Cavalry, came up and just jammed Tillman at the past the 5-yard mark. That's illegal. They caught him on it. Tillman trying to recover, get downfield, but could not do it. Could not make it happen.
How many yards is that? 5? 8 yards?
Legal, Chuck. 3-yard penalty. First down.
So first down, a little bit closer to the goal line. They still have a ways to go. The ball out to the 13-yard line. First and 10 from there. Under 3 minutes to play here in the 3rd quarter from the Tarrant County Convention Center. Fort Worth and Las Vegas. For Fort Worth, their last home game of the season. Horace fires the Burchett, and he's brought down at the 20 immediately by Pat McGurk.
You know, defensive backs like McGurk try to hit you right as soon as the ball gets there or before the ball gets there and intimidate you, and in some cases even hurt you. But this guy, Burchett, is not a small guy. Watch him bounce right back up. He grabs this ball. This can actually get the receiver's adrenaline going. Say, yeah? You think that hurt? Watch that. I'm going to come back and get the ball again. They love it. They love that. Just a little bit of pain really gets that adrenaline, the endorphins going. Like those little dwarfs.
Horace going for it all. And you might want to give Mike Wilholt credit that time for turning into the defender on the play. He was the intended receiver, but he went up and actually knocked that ball away from McGurk.
Tillman hooks when it looks like Horace thought he was going to continue on the go. Wilholt doing a great job at coming all the way across the field. If you can't get the ball, make sure the defender can't get the ball. As you said, he turned into the defender, did a great job of just knocking it down. Just don't give him any chance to pick it off. Looks like a miscommunication between Horace and Tillman, number 80.
Now it's 3rd down and 4 now from the 20. And Daryl Tillman hangs on at the 5. First down, Las Vegas.
I don't know how to give him that. I'm not knocking the officials, you know, but I'd give him a couple more yards. He carried that ball. He gets jammed here pretty good by number 49, Milton Cockrell, but keeps his feet, diving catch, great concentration, and rolls a couple more yards. I'd give him a couple more yards on that, wouldn't you?
Eric Turner came over late. He wanted to stop the progress right there, but as Fort Worth found out, the impetus takes him down to the 5.
Angels in the backfield again. Porras getting some help from the Angels in the backfield.
6 catches tonight for Tillman. He has 33 for the year. This is James Johnson. Touchdown, Las Vegas.
Ooh, clean. Beautiful. That was that fake toss dive that they used earlier with such success. Dave Pirelli waiting at the right place, the right time. You look at this sort of a fake toss, then it's a dive back to Johnson as he comes underneath. Makes the linebacker spread out. It gives the running back a chance. And you see Johnson here, he's not going to be shut down. He just plenty of room to run. Touchdown.
6'2", 222 pounds of momentum takes it in, and Las Vegas has their first lead of the ball game as the third quarter comes to a close. They'll stay on this end though and kick the point after and then change sides on the kickoff. But right now it's 33-29 Vegas.
At the end of the quarter, we will kick the extra point.
And the pendulum swings, John, swinging back in favor of Las Vegas with that touchdown by Johnson. That's what's so important in these games, is that momentum, keeping it on your side. The impetus, keep it on your side.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Got to score these, though. Bennett's been having a tough time. This is as perfect a game as a guy could want, except for this.
So now there's improvised time for Scooter Molander, and Scooter finds his man for a 2-point conversion.
Oh, can you believe
so
that?
Scooter, who has been the long-standing starting quarterback on this team, Molander comes on. Cooley finds his man in the end zone for a 2-point try. Was Johnson the man who makes 2 on the board here?
Absolutely.
Scooter on the money, and JJ was there to make it 35-29 as we head down the home stretch to the 4th. For the first time tonight, Las Vegas is on the fat side of the scoreboard. They lead 35-29. Tracy Bennett kicking off. Kerry Simeon is deep.
Hey, you're not nervous, are you?
Let's go back, though, to what was a 2-point try, and Scooter Molander comes along here and does a great job, Russ, of keeping his cool.
You know, not only did Scooter keep his cool, and again, Angels in the backfield helping out here. Scooter, the backup quarterback, Johnson getting the catch, but the line kept their cool poise, not going downfield thinking that the ball had been kicked. They stayed right there on the line of scrimmage. There could have been a penalty. They didn't. Scooter Molander going from 0 to hero after being replaced by Porras, the backup quarterback, getting a chance to make a name for himself.
The penalty on the touchback, the ball brought out to the 20-yard line, and you saw there a little miscommunication between Simeon and Carlton Liggins and Todd Hamill. Hamill's gone the whole way tonight. Kyle Mackey and he have been flip-flopping back and forth at the starting position. Mackey a little banged up, and so Hamill's the guy that would like to keep the ball and the call. Orlando tonight, as we have told you, going for their 10th consecutive win. They get it, and that ties the all-time Arena Football League record with the old Chicago Bruisers and Charlotte perhaps winning their 4th game of the season tonight in the 3rd quarter on top of Miami. Gary Compton with his first catch of the night for Fort Worth, his 64th of the year, but they shut him down last week, and so far tonight they have shut him down again. Compton with 1 catch tonight.
Well, he had a chance earlier, but he tried to move with the ball. As we look at the other quarterback, Mackey, sitting here waiting for his chance to possibly come in, but Hamill having a good job. Compton didn't get a chance to move on that last one. The ball was drilled by Hamill right into his chest on the sideline, and that's what the Cavalry's got to do, that possession type of pass.
Hamill again to Compton. The ball goes into the stands, as is the Rolling Arena Football League. You get to keep that one. Compton wishes that he had his hands on it instead. That'll set up second down for Fort Worth and 10 yards.
That's why this game is so up close and personal. I heard the women screamed all the way up here in the booth. These gals are right along by the field. The players, Compton comes slamming into the boards, almost dropped into their laps. That's up close and personal football.
Well, I've seen it advertised, and I think it was at Miami last week that they had what they called a couple of weeks ago in-your-face seats when they were down close like that. A couple of weeks ago when we were there. Hale on second down, throws the ball across the field to Simeon there, who hangs on. Greg Lewis back in the game as the defensive specialist. Tried to rip the ball out of Simeon's hands. Instead, the ball is up close to the 10-yard line. It'll be third down at about 1.5.
All right, let's go left. Wing high motion, 38 toss. Fold. Wide fold. Left, wing high motion, 38. Toss, wide fold. 1-2, ready? Get set, get set. Yeah.
Third down and 1 for Fort Worth. Ball's loose on the carpet. Let's see who's got it. It appears as though Fort Worth recovered the ball. You see Joe Brookins comes up and says, hey, I got it. But no, the ball is ruled that it belongs in the Cavalry's possession. And now Mike Trigg has a big decision to make. His team trails by 6. They have 4th and about 3. And you may have heard him say, kick it. And that is indeed what Ian Halfield will come on and attempt to do. The ball will be spotted just inside the 20. That will be a 28-yard attempt for Halfield. The holder here is Todd Hamill. And Halfield puts it up and over, creates a little stir in the end zone, but puts 3 on the board. So Ian Halfield comes back to cut the lead in half. It's 35-32. Las Vegas.
Bobby, it's summertime. What do you see? Cool, refreshing pet.
Where you want to be.
The Vegas lead has been cut in half. Ian Halfield good from 28 yards out, 35-32 with a lot of football to go. And Russ, the fourth quarter usually tells the story in arena football, does it not?
Well, especially when teams are this close. You know, they're going both ways. Both both sides are tired. And this is where the guys find out what they're made of. You know, think about it, the folks at home, when you've been the most exhausted, you know, whether it's that run you go for or a bicycle ride or a swim or whatever, these guys are doing it for the whole fourth quarter. This is what's going to determine the winner and the loser in this football game.
Brookins barely stays in bounds and then gets taken down at the 9. You see a host of dark jerseys in on that stop. Halfield does his job. The scoring drive, as Ian was responsible for the final 3. 4 plays, 30 yards it goes. 3:40 off the clock. One of those favorite drives of yours. And Halfield, as I said, with the
wing vertical, 61 special, wing post. Let's go slide right. I'm already.
Well, I heard the 61 special in the weak post, so I would have to guess a pass. And Las Vegas has been moving the ball well in the passing game, so I wouldn't expect them to divert to it.
Horace looking for Tillman all by himself. Milton Cockrell fell down, and Porras under pressure, and it's a good thing he was for Fort Worth because Tillman had broken free downfield.
Tillman making a great move here, but number 85, Gary Kostar, getting in and really putting the heat on Porras, not giving him a chance. Quarterback's got to step into that throw. If Porras had had the opportunity to do that, he could have got the ball to Tillman wide open. They'll go back to that, I promise you.
Porras 12 out of 27 tonight, 3 touchdowns, but he just missed his 4th. Tillman was all by himself. That's Nathan Burchett there, slingshotting. Oh, he gets hit from behind. Loose ball. Let's see who's got it. Las Vegas has recovered. Gary Kostar was in once again, applying pressure. The ball was loose, but the Sting have retained possession.
Number 85, Gary Kostar, has been a menace for the Sting. Here he comes, just slamming into Porras right here. Ball loose. He goes back and tries to recover the fumble. He's the guy that knocked the ball loose out of the hands of the Sting on the return just before halftime. This guy comes to play. Las Vegas, Fort Worth creating 3 turnovers. He's the guy that created that safety.
Third down and very long for Vegas. Porras out of his own end zone has the completion and the first down.
You know, we didn't get a chance to hear it in the huddle, but I guarantee you that Tom Porras went back to the huddle and said, listen, guys, you've got to give me more time than this. When we do these types of things happen, Daryl Tillman, who's also playing both ways, running an awful lot, he said, just give him some time. I can get this guy open. See this time? Look at this. Kostar's not there. Blackwell's not there. And again, running these flat patterns, don't give the guys a chance to cut you off inside. Tillman doing a great job of losing Milton Cockrell on that pass pattern. Just flattened right across the middle. 7 receptions, 119 yards at the TD.
And Vegas is on the move again. Porras throwing that one wild and high to the right.
They're screening. They're screening. They're screening, huh?
Yeah, they're screening on first down. All right, do it again over here.
No, hey, Joe on the smash. All right? Joe right here, Joe.
So they'll go
Joe.
Same play, left side this time. Babe Perilli. Who's seen a defense or two in his day.
Smash. That's choice.
Tore him apart. Dissected him.
Here you go. Let's go. Let's go.
That guy knows the game of football as well as anybody.
Inside of 8 minutes to play, Vegas up by 3. Porras to Brookins, and the pass was broken up by McGurk.
See, the danger of doing a play like that and just flip-flopping is that these defensive guys saw it on the other side. When they see the receiver start to make that break, they start thinking, cut it off, get underneath it. See, right here, Brookins is making that. Now, you got to flatten out. McGurk getting up, just getting his hand on it there at the last second. Almost a perfect pass by Porras.
I'll tell you what, I have been surprised by how many replays we have seen Milton Cockrell, the defensive specialist for Fort Worth, get turned around by Tillman and his pass patterns. And so I'd be curious to see if perhaps they can't get that matchup again and see if Tillman can't do a little dipsy-do on him again.
Exactly.
That's Tillman firing downfield, and there's a penalty on the play.
Well, George Lindbergh, number 57, is hanging on the ball, keeping it himself.
Huh? Yeah, James will do it. He'll get it for you. Tell him to, let's do it. Get your ass back and throw it to him. Come on, do it. Okay. Hey, how do you want? Just 9 wide.
It was third down and 10.
Offensive line moving. 3-yard penalty.
Carl's pretty excited about that call.
Everybody moved, not just the offensive line, the receivers, quarterback backed up, away from the center, everybody.
Let's go 9 wide.
Carl's got to stop getting so emotional when he makes his calls here.
I didn't see that ball move much, did you?
Get the chill now.
Move that ball off on a penalty? It's third down.
3rd and 13. The original line of scrimmage was the 24. It's now the 21. Intended for James Johnson, and Vegas will have to kick. Kelly Blackwell applying the heat on Porras. And you see there, number 1, Gary Compton also making the play.
He gets buried. It's really not quite fair. He gets buried by number 57, George Lindbergh, as this ball comes over the middle. You see Compton, number 1 in the middle of your screen, going to move for the ball. He gets hit first by number 55, Sam Hernandez, and number 57 buries him. That's no fair. I mean, heck, he's only about 180 pounds. These other guys are 260, 270.
This is a 44-yard attempt by Tracy Bennett. Plenty of leg, but off the screen, and Simeon will get a chance to return. He gets it out to the 3-yard line, maybe the 2, but Fort Worth has turned them back, and so the Cavalry's got their hands on the ball and a chance to retake the lead with less than 6 minutes to play.
Seen any great movies lately? Check out what's on Stars in July.
This is fun.
It's summertime on Stars, and the movies keep getting hotter. Call this number to order Stars and Encore for just $4.95 per month.
Take the plunge with Discovery Shark Safari Sweepstakes. Grand prize is a trip for two to Shark Junction off Grand Bahama Island in the Caribbean and a chance to swim with these magnificent creatures courtesy of the Nature Company. 100 first prize winners will receive a $50 gift certificate to the Nature Company and a special Shark Safari prize package. To enter, look for this display at all Nature Company stores or these participating retailers.
For details, call TCI at 930-2000 and in Denver, call Mile High Cable at 744-9696.
It's 35-32, Las Vegas on top. They won when these two teams played last week by a score of 47-37. Fort Worth trying to snap out of their three-game losing streak and trying to get some momentum headed toward what they hope will be a playoff.
Let's go trips left. Wing high motion. 50 stack. On two, ready?
This stack call that they you hear the teams calling, that's a hooks all the way around. Pretty standard play. It's a possession pass. Man-to-man by the Sting.
Hamill looked at Compton, goes deep instead to Dixon, or rather Simeon, who couldn't make the catch. Back with him stride for stride was Greg Lewis. Terry Simeon out of Texas A&I, played with the Saints back in 1990. He's got a cousin with the Kansas City Chiefs right now, but Lewis was there and made the play, and Simeon couldn't come back.
Well, they were hooking up on the outside, giving Greg Lewis the chance to run one-on-one, man-to-man with Simeon, Terry Simeon. And one thing the receiver's never supposed to do, you saw Greg Lewis lose sight of the football. I mean, that could have been easily an interception by Simeon and brought back for a TD.
To Compton, who makes the catch and gets rattled into the board. Again, the clock will continue to roll. Fort Worth close to a first down.
Okay, John. It's 4 minutes and 35 seconds left in the game.
Yes.
Las Vegas leads 35-32. We're going to see a lot of intensity. This is where you got to suck it up. These guys have been going both ways. This is where these guys, every ounce of energy they have left, they've got to pour into the last 4 minutes and 18 seconds.
Go left, 90, wide post. First down, ready?
They do pick up the first down, so a fresh set of downs awaits Fort Worth. Hamill is in trouble. Dumped it off in the direction of big James Bevel there. James at 6'1", 265. Perhaps would like to eat the football instead of catch it. He's a big man.
Be ready for zone, run the rainbow.
Well, you see George Lindbergher here, number 57, getting his hands up on the rush. Here comes the rest of the Sting. Hamill had James Dixon downfield on that post that he called that wide post. I guess he just didn't think he had enough room.
Hamill hitting a little better than 50% of his passes tonight, but he has been picked off 3 times by Las Vegas. Under pressure again, looking downfield. Incomplete to Gary Compton. And once again, Lewis was in the neighborhood.
Where's Dick going?
One thing that people can't appreciate, and I have a lot of respect for these receivers, John, is that this field is narrower and shorter. You don't have the kind of luxury when that ball starts to fade as it did when Hamill threw that ball towards the sideline and it drifts. You have got to get right to the sideline and know exactly where it is in order to have a chance catching the ball.
Right, wing on motion wide. Left. Right, wing high motion wide, 50 stack. On two, ready?
It's third down and 10.
Get down.
And a huge play here for Fort Worth with less than 3 minutes to play.
Yeah, baby.
And Hamill throws it high and wide, and it's 4th and 10. And the clock continues to roll. 2:21, 2:20 remaining, and Mike Trigg doesn't have much of a choice here.
As I said before, John, these guys, number 50, John Dixon for the Sting, these guys are giving every ounce of energy and effort they've got Dixon putting the heat on Hamill, making him get rid of that ball and throw it high. That's what the defense has got to do. That's what they're out there for. Now they got to turn around and go on offense too.
Well, Halfield will kick it from his own 5-yard line. This is from 53 yards out. And the ball will go out of the end zone for a touchback. And so Las Vegas, with less than 2 minutes to play, has the ball and a 3-point lead.
Now, when you buy a case of quality Valvoline motor oil, you can send away for a Valvoline hat.
Honey, I'm going out.
Okay. And become a member of the Valvoline Performance Team. Join the Valvoline Performance Team, and you'll feel like you're right in the middle of the action. So buy a case and get a hat, plus great deals on Valvoline racing gear and a lot more.
Honey, where have you been?
Just out for a little spin.
People who know use Valvoline.
2 MVPs, 2 rings. I've been working hard. Maybe this year, I'll take a little time off. There, that was refreshing.
All men are created equal. Some just work harder in the preseason.
(35-32), Las Vegas leading Fort Worth, but Tom Porras and the Sting have the football.
Wing vertical, 91 special, on one, ready?
Porras throwing for more than 200 yards tonight and 3 touchdowns. Quickly out to Darrell Tillman. It was a good catch, but the clock will roll, and that was the problem that Mike Trigg had to play with. Do I give up the football now this late in the game in the chance that I'll never see it again? And he decided to try the kick, hopefully to pin back Las Vegas and maybe get a turnover or the ball. The 1-minute rule will come into effect here as far as timing is concerned. And what happens now, Las Vegas must make positive yardage on a play. If they do not, an incomplete pass obviously would stop the clock, but a running play that is brought down behind the line of scrimmage or to the line of scrimmage, that would stop the clock as well.
No.
And so it does come into play here. If you have the ball and the lead in the last minute, you got to make something happen with it. If not, the clock stops. And so the defensive team and the team behind does get a bit of a break there.
Okay, hey, hold on. You got it, right? Are we going? Here you go. Let's go. 3 wide. Let's go 3 wide. Oh, you're wing. 3 wide. Wing vertical. Big toss left. Fullback at 5. I'm ready. On 1.
The play clock is down to 5, and so they have got to hustle to the line of scrimmage. 2, 1, but Porras got it off. I don't think everybody got set, though. There you see the preliminary call, illegal motion against Las Vegas, and so they'll step off 3 yards and push the Sting back a little bit. That'll bring up 2nd down and about 8. James Johnson checking into the game. Babe Perilli looking for his team's 2nd win in a row.
Motion, number 80. Penalty declined. 3rd down. Lost yard.
So illegal motion was the call, but the penalty declined.
Wing vertical, 91. Give me some time. Ask you to go. Oh, wait. 91 special.
So it's 3rd down and 5 for Las Vegas. Porras airing it out deep, and it's intercepted. Pat McGurk with the interception, and Fort Worth will get one more shot. McGurk with his 4th interception of the season, and it couldn't have come at a bigger time. Less than a minute to play, but the Cavalry down by 3. They got
the new Volkswagen Golf features.
We have to get a 1st down. All I want is a 1st down.
Watch them stop on the first down. We'll get in and out of the huddle in a hurry. 50 seconds. Let me have right, wing. Let's just go right 90, right off the ball.
John Wall's here with Russ Francis, and Russ, Fort Worth has themselves an opportunity here.
I'm right down at field level, John. It's exciting as heck. The intensity, the electricity, you can feel at the Cavalry with the ball.
Hamill quickly out to Dixon, who tried to stretching it out of bounds, but he did not. And that forces Fort Worth to burn a timeout. They have 2 remaining. 39 seconds remaining to play in regulation, we might say at this point. 35-32, Vegas.
The Lions have homed in on the Gazelle. Now begins nature's oldest game. Running at full speed, the hunter and the hunted zigzag across the plain in a frenzied race for life. The lion gets close enough to get a paw on the Gazelle, but our agile friend, with a final burst of speed, eludes his captor. This time.
The Canadian Football League on ESPN2. It's wild.
Welcome back to the Tarrant County Convention Center, where right now the Cavalry is trying to come up with a rescue charge of their own. They trail by 3, 35-32. Our Wilson MVP for this game, Daryl Tillman. Fine wide receiver who has had a sensational game tonight for Fort Worth, and the Rydell Ironman, Pat McGirt, who has been sensational defensively, coming up with that last-minute interception, which has given the Cavalry one more shot at the end zone. It's 2nd down and 3 from the 16. Hamill loses the handle on the ball and has to eat it behind the line of scrimmage. Sam Hernandez was there to pounce on him.
Well, this is what we're talking about, John. That last second, everything you got effort. Sam Hernandez coming in on the rush. He was pushing against Hinkie, number 71. They're discussing it a little bit here at the line of scrimmage about maybe holding or face mask. But Sam Hernandez was not going to be pushed out of place. Came in and knocked the ball loose. That's what you got to have, that last second effort by the guys on defense. This really puts the pressure on the Cavalry.
Timeouts remaining, 3 and 1 for Fort Worth. That's something they got to think about. Something for you to think about the indoor war tomorrow night on ESPN1. Tampa Bay and Arizona, a couple of clubs with 6-3 records. The winner comes out of that, taking over the undisputed. Well, actually, I should say they'll be tied with Massachusetts, perhaps, with 7-3 marks, but at least they would break some of the deadlock there. It is 3rd down and 7. James Dixon has the first down. The clock stops. 26 seconds to play.
Yeah, no count. First down, first down. Go.
Hamill to Compton. Clock stops. Chains move. Ball down to the 19-yard line, and Ian Halfield comes into play here, Russ, the place kicker for Fort Worth.
Great possession control, John, with 22 seconds left. The Cavalry doing everything they want. They're moving the ball around the field. Hamill getting time from his linemen to get the ball out towards the sidelines to stop the clock.
Hamill to the sideline. There's a flag down, though, in the neighborhood of the quarterback. Terry Simeon made the catch, did pick up the first down, but what is the flag?
And guess who is the guy causing all the havoc? Number 55, Sam Hernandez, forcing the offense to possibly hold here, doing everything he can to get to the quarterback. That guy gets my vote.
I know a lot of you Jim Rome fans are hanging on right now, waiting for the main man. Well, he's coming up right after the ball game. Talk 2 coming up after the game tonight. Super Agent Lee Steinberg. Also Brian Trottier, hockey star, on hand tonight. Laying down a little lip there with Jim, and you can check it out after the ball game on Talk 2 coming up right after the game. Penalty was against Fort Worth. It was a hold. It is second down. The ball is now on their side of the 25. Hamill goes across the field to Dixon. The clock will roll. No, first down. Clock stops to move the chains. He did not get out of bounds, but he did pick up the first down. 10 seconds remaining. One timeout for Fort Worth.
Hamill getting flushed all the way to his right, John, throwing across field to Dixon. That is one of the toughest throws in football, to throw across your body with the guy moving away from you.
The clock will roll. Hamill looking for the end zone, throws it away. 4 seconds left to play. They have one timeout. Russ, do they dare pull the trigger?
I think we may be looking at a possible overtime here. If the Cavalry can make this thing work with 4 seconds left, I don't think so. I think you've got to go, to tie the game up. They're going to be talking about it here, going into a committee meeting, trying to decide exactly what they want to do.
This will be a 32-yard attempt for Halfield. You saw his misses tonight, 53 and 58. From between 30 and 45 yards, Halfield is 4 of 9. So how appropriate that against a team from Las Vegas, you got a 50-50 shot about at coming up with an overtime game.
Well, number 50 leaving the field for Las Vegas, Dixon. If this does go into overtime, they're going to miss him because he and 55, Hernandez, have been putting a tremendous amount of pressure on the quarterback of the Cavalry. Halfield now, you can imagine what's going through his mind, number 6. The whole game rides on his leg. That's a lot of pressure.
He has made 3 field goals tonight. You saw them all in that 27 to 28-yard range. This just a little bit beyond that. The line of scrimmage, it looks like they're going to set the ball down at about the 16-yard line. Remember, I talked about his dad, Bobby, kicked for the Jets and Broncos, 1968 through 1975.
Yeah. One thing I think, too, John, we're going to see is you don't see much push normally on field goal. This is a longer kick. I think this thing's going to give it one last effort to get it and press him to kick it quick.
And remember, they have to rush up the middle. They can't come from the outside to try and block this one. This is for overtime. That's a live football, though. There is a flag on the play. They may not have given the return man enough space to get the ball. If so, that will be a penalty that will not be enforced, and Las Vegas will have won the football game. Fort Worth did recover the ball down at the 3. But again, if the penalty is against the Cavalry, the game will end and Las Vegas will win their 2nd in a row.
Inside the 5-yard line.
What a hard-fought game, John. Both teams playing their hearts out to the very end.
Not in force. Game is over.
You heard the final call. The kicking team did not give the returning team 5 yards to make the proper return, and so Las Vegas has won their 2nd game in a row. The final tonight, the Sting on top of the Fort Worth Cavalry, 35-32. Tonight's arena football game has been produced by High Bar Productions in association with ESPN. Talk 2. Coming up next for Russ Francis. Hey, it's been a pleasure being with you folks this year. Join Steve Physiak and Doc Walker next week for more of the Indoor War. Jim Rome's coming up on the Dukes. Good night from Fort Worth.